Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. How is everybody doing? How are we all doing today? It's good to see ya. It's nice to be back. Had a nice long weekend this weekend. Didn't stream yesterday because I felt like ass, basically. I just felt, you know, one of the days, it's like I felt like shit. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna get some other stuff done today. So decided to take a bit of a day. You know what I mean? I think I was depressed from Man United again the weekend because, oh my god, we're so bad. We are so bad. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, chat. How are we doing, though? When is the Monster Banner, guys? When's the Monster Banner, guys? Because I don't know. When is it? You need to let me know. You need to let me know. I need to put money on Arknights because I'm skint. I'm brassic. I'm broke. I have zero. I've got like a temple, I think, if I'm lucky. But yo, what's going on, chat? Welcome to the stream, guys. If you haven't already, drop a like. It's very much appreciated. It helps out a lot as well. I appreciate ya for that. It's today. Shit, for some reason, it's Tuesday today. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was Thursday, maybe. Fuck. Oh, damn. Damn. Okay. All right. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's happening. Oh, no. I'm going to have to spend money again. Gonna have to fund Enfield again, guys. Gonna have to fund Enfield again. I want a statue in Enfield. Whatever you're doing though, guys. How are we doing? Let me see what chat's saying. Yo, Lufasu, welcome to the stream. Frankie, how's it going? Just Casual Gamer, welcome. Caliber, Duck Lord, hello, hello, hello. Rasanju, welcome to the stream. Yo, Cheese, how's it going, brother man? Jamie, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello, hello. Filoni, welcome to the stream. Recycle me. Dylan, how is it going? Jerry, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the stream. Yo, T, man, 6 p.m. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to use the bonus, chat. We're gonna have to use the bonus. It's time. I think it's time. Cactus, welcome to the stream. Yo, Kneecapped, how's it going? Now that you've defeated Tallulah, the next challenge is to conquer that with E2. This behavior is completing an IS run. I think you might be right, actually. So we're going to try and wrap up, obviously, Chapter 8 today. We're going to go through the last little bit. We've got some stuff to look at, though, today. Have some reaction. I'll check out some stuff that's going on in space. I want to check out a couple of the clears of JT8-3 as well. So if anybody's got any insane clears, right? Like ridiculous plays. I've got 2 videos to go. I don't know. Let me just have a look. We've got JT8-3 1P relay and no hit damage. And then we've got simple JT8-3 secret low clear. So we're going to check out those, but if you've got any insane, what's it, guys? Any insane clears, hit me up in React Smash so we can check those out. I'd appreciate that. Laura, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Finland, yeah, really, yeah. It's 3-0 to Man City, man. It's just, oh, it's just every week it's pain watching my team play. Like, I'm glad it was Sunday at R4, the kickoff, right? Because at least it was like, right, the weekend's over, so they don't get to, ruin the whole weekend. I got to enjoy it up until then, with the hope that, you know, the hope was there. I was going into the game thinking, maybe, but yeah, I'm over it now. I'm over it. It is depression to be a United fan. If you stream regularly, but not going to be out when you end stream. Yeah, nah. It'll be. I've got to get Rose from work, so yeah, it'll be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. We'll be pulling for Monster then. So, plan, chat, is people have been asking for this freaking, what's it called? The co-op mode. I forgot what it's called. Breaker. What's it called now? I haven't even gone into that mode yet. I literally haven't even opened it up, so I'm going in blind tomorrow. So you guys are gonna have to help me. So yeah, I'm planning. I think we'll do some of that tomorrow. Get some viewers in, play some games. Icebreaker. Okay, yeah. So I think we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah. Get some games in with chat. I don't know exactly how it works. I ain't got a clue. So it's totally new to me. Hey Kathy, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. You're not dead, that's half the battle. There you go. That's the way to look at it, right? The man has been coming out super fast, in my opinion. I think it's because of Enfield. I expect some Enfield news and maybe new beta announcements a week or two of chapter 15. Yeah, now I'm through chapter 8. Like, I want to get some side story stuff done right. So, I do want to do a good portion of the side stories, right? But I must admit, I really want to crack through, like, the main story. So I want to finish off Colder Brawl, and I want to do the most important side stories. So ones that are most important for lore and story, of course, right? And then the other ones that are, like, important for, like, what we get out of them, like units and stuff like that. Because I really do want to try and crack on with some of the story. So I can at least try and sort of catch up, right? Obviously, we take it at our pace because we're trying to E1. So, of course, you know, and we'll stream like normal, but, you know. But I definitely do want to do that. But I do want to do, I think now is the perfect time to tackle some side stuff, right? So I need to finish off Colder Brawl. And then, yeah, we need to get into some other side story stuff. What's going on, Kung Kungs? F-mate. I know what you mean. Welcome on. Yaz, what's going on? What the hell does Yosar have to do with Enfield? Not sure what you mean. Chat should carry you fine on beginner and advanced and about expert, but it'll be interesting to see. Right, okay. That's good then. So what, you guys are going to have to carry the E1, right? Let's go. Most fun in my opinion with your E1s are the soccer ones, right? Okay. Powder Brawl probably. Yo, what's going on, Blue? Welcome to the stream. Long trail time. Babel. Ryan Labs and Seaborn are probably the most important, I would think. Bruh, not Babel, it's too early. The properly important ones, Intermezzos. Right, okay. Okay. Well, I'll have a look through the list again. I think I did pin it. Did I pin that in Discord now? I'm pretty sure I pinned it, didn't I? Hold up. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think I did actually. I'll pin to this anniversary stuff. I need to unpin some stuff from Discord, man. I'm not gonna lie. Got some old pins on there. Alright, whatever. Okay. Oh yeah, actually, we've got the new UI, haven't we? So we don't have to worry about that now, do we? I forgot about that actually. Good call, good call. Yeah, I forgot we got the new UI, haven't we? For so everything's in order through that. Yeah. What does he do now? It hits you with what it's like. Is it in actual chronological order, or is it in like what order it thinks you should be going to next? Yeah, I need to have a look at that because I haven't properly had a look at that, but it does look cool. I do like that UI there. Yeah. Yeah, Seaborn one, more so because PP was my MVP. Yeah, man. I think I was gonna make a video about this actually, about how Ulpinus is probably the best 50-50 loss that I've ever had in a gacha game. You know? Because, like, with most gachas, when it comes to, like, the on-banner characters, losing the 50-50 is usually a real bad thing, right? You know? In terms of the little selection of ones you can lose to. Like, they really don't benefit, unless you're, like, newer to the game, I guess, you know? But, like, that 50-50 loss, I think, is the best loss I've had in a gacha game, right? Because, now, I'm not gassing myself up. Maybe we could have still made that happen, right? Without him. It would have been super tight, though. Like, I'm not sure exactly how we would have, right? It would have required an extra healer for one, at least. Which I still think might have been possible, but it would have just took a lot longer, and it would have had so many more failure points. You know what I mean? Dude changed it. Yeah, I got Inez as well. We got Reed. We got a. Oh, you want to make the original Inez? Yeah, we got Reed and Inez, didn't we, this time as well on the road to Necras, which I still haven't leveled her up yet. Actually, I need to get round to it. But yeah, I think as goated losses go, that was as good as it gets. That was as good as it gets because it perfect time as well, right? Just when we needed him. You know, it's like somebody said, it was plot armor. That was a plot armor loss, that was. Because it was just like perfect moment for the dude to drop. Just when we needed him, dude came along like, I got you, bro. I got you. So, yeah, I wanted to make a video kind of talking about that. And maybe talking about, like, you know, 50-50 losses in general, overall. And how we look at, like, the gacha systems. And you know how sometimes people... You know how people build pity sometimes in the hope for, like, building it on one banner and then, oh, it's okay if I get that. Just that whole conversation, but I just really wanted to talk about that because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, damn, man, what a fucking loss. Just couldn't get any better, you know? It was just perfect for me at that particular moment. You know, really good unit at E1 as well and just did exactly what we needed him to do. If you have the full team, he's busted. 14k HP, almost 800 HP per second heal. Yeah, I haven't even seen that. And like, dude was clutching. You know what I mean? Clutching. Yeah, I think it probably would have, Jerry. It definitely would have. It would have required some adjustments, that's for sure. And there's no way we could have done it with just the one healer. And even then, you know, because like a couple of times when we were trying to stall her initially. And I was trying to do it in the middle, and we did try some switches, and we brought Hoshin and that. It was even rough then, you know, like, if I weren't keeping up on top of stuff, she was getting wiped out. So, yeah, definitely would have took a few more hours, that's for sure. Most gachas are Huyo and Kuro. Real most gachas use the same system as Arknights Blue Archive, where most characters go into standard banner. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I know it's not the only game that does that. I don't know if most gachas, the characters go into a standard banner. A lot do operate like that. It just depends on how the gacha systems are set up. You know, like not all, well, not most. Well, I don't know, actually. I'd like to know that. That'd be kind of a cool thing to look through. Which gacha games actually do that? Because you might be right, actually. You might be right. I'm saying that as if I've got evidence to the contrary, and I don't. Genshin has been the worst thing to happen to standard banners. Yeah, like, that's why I say, like... I mean, I'm gonna be shitting on the women's face again, right? But, like, this is why I don't understand. Like, because all people here, like, because I've seen people still shitting on the Enfield banner system, right, is that initial pity and thinking that the pulls can go to waste, not realising that they do have a 50-50 within the 80 pulls, wasn't it, right? And then you only have to go another 40 to guarantee, which is no different than that system. It's just that you don't have to get to 160 for the guarantee. So really, if you're going with the guarantee in mind, you're doing it in less pulls anyway. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But like people like gassing up the Wither system, oh, it's so great because of the guaranteed weapon and stuff. And it's like, it's such a narrow-minded view, man. It gets on my tits. I'm not gonna lie. It's one thing that kind of, well, actually, it's not the one thing that triggers me about the Wither space, but we ain't gonna go into that. You know, you need to hop on Rising soon. It's lit out here. I would say almost on par to peak Destiny 2, modern day Destiny. Okay, I need to install it. Actually, I need to install it. Somebody ping me after in Discord if you would. I'd appreciate that. Just remind me when I get back, because I've got Rosie's got gym class tonight, so I'll probably go and do just an hour or so of cardio at the gym, so I won't be back till it's probably going to be 7 p.m. my time, so it's going to be like another 6-7 hours before I'm back home. So if somebody pings me and say, yo, dude, download it, I'll remember to, because I have been meaning to check it out. I just keep forgetting, man. I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to the stream, though, Renegades. Good to see you, buddy. Ends, what's going on? Welcome. Yo, Easy, Mackay, welcome to the stream. To know before Genshin, every game unit's gone to standard pool. I think that was a time, though, when we didn't have, you know, because we're going back to, like, then as well, when, like, pity wasn't really a thing, and 50-50s even in some games, weren't they? So it was like, characters might have gone into the standard pool, but it didn't feel like a better system in the sense that, you know, you could be fucking pulling for ages, couldn't you? Yeah, I'd like to know that. That'd be a thing that, we need to find a numbers guy who's, you know, looked at that. Because, like, you know, pre-Genshin, you know, there was a lot of terrible pities terrible, well, no, like in some games, no 50-50s, guarantees, all that sort of stuff, right? It was just like, you pull until it happens kind of thing, or just like insanely high pities and stuff. So like I said this before, right? I made a video in saying we should thank Genshin to a degree. It wasn't so much around the gacha systems. It was more around, for me, and people, I got a lot of hate on this video. People like, I'm never thanking Genshin, but it was more for me that Hoyo proved with a game like Genshin that investment, you know, into a game could like reap massive rewards. And what I mean by that is spending loads in making a game that's not just a JPEG game that's like really low end in terms of like gameplay itself and visuals and all that sort of stuff. That proved that, you know, there's a space out here to make big money if you've got a decent amount of quality. But I think as well, you know, things like they're particularly, even though I think personally, I'm glad to see a lot of other games trying different stuff. I'm loving what Enfield are doing. I do like the NT are trying different stuff. I did like what DNA were doing before. I know they've gone no gacha at all now, but I did like their system, what they were trying. You know, I think it is time to try and evolve and get better systems, right? But I think I think Genshin was like kind of a stepping stone that I don't think where we are right now, we wouldn't be for a few more years if it wasn't for Genshin, in my opinion. I ain't saying there wouldn't be another game that would have come along if Genshin never existed, right? Because of course, probably would have. But I just think it would have been a few years later anyway. But yeah. Is Summer trying to pull on banner later? It'll be tomorrow, because I finish stream at around 4:30. The banner comes out about an hour and a half after I finish streaming. So it'll be tomorrow when I actually do some pulls. The grass isn't as green as... Yeah, I think sometimes we can have rose-tinted glasses, can't we, as well? And this is coming from somebody who didn't delve into gacha back then. But obviously, I've looked at stuff, right? You know, I've looked at games and that, and it's like, you know, stuff was a bit rough back in the day sometimes. My FGO, PTSD with no pity use, right? All thanks to COVID. Yeah, the COVID buff was insane. Don't get me wrong, Genshin would have still been huge. But the COVID buff, there's a reason why people call it the buff. It was a massive buff, wasn't it? But, yeah, you know, as I say, as somebody who doesn't play Genshin, I've played Genshin, but as somebody who doesn't play Genshin, and I think Genshin is a fine game, personally, for me, but I'm not a fan, right? I'm a fan of Arknights. It kind of makes me, I hate saying this. I am a fan of Wuthering Waves. I'm just not currently playing Wuthering Waves, right? I'm a fan of Reverse 1999. You know what I mean? I was a big fan of Honkai Star Rail at one point, and I'm a fan of Zenless Zone Zero as well, actually. But somebody who, like I say, I'd say I'm not a fan. I'm definitely cognizant of like what it's done for the industry, but also at the same time, I suppose you could argue that maybe it's. Can you really blame Genshin though that other developers follow and do stuff and maybe don't innovate? You can't really, can you? You know, it's what people do. They follow the leader, don't they? Not a wise girl. Welcome. Hello. Even though AK is the exception, how many pulls are you planning to spend? I don't know. Hopefully 10. Hopefully we drop a 10 pull. Bam, she comes home, right? That's what I'm hoping. Yo, Linhardt, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Rayhan, welcome to the stream. Yo, Skybird, how's he going? Don't know about that, guys. Don't know about that. But yeah, welcome to the stream. So yeah, I've not got many pulls at all, right? Nowhere, like, no, I'm lucky if I've got 20 pulls, probably. So I'm probably gonna have to put some money down. I've reserved that. To be fair, on the last stuff, I spent like 50 quid on packs, and in my head I was looking at being like, right, most I'm gonna spend was like 100 to 120, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, all right, considering I didn't spend as much as I was gonna spend last time, I took a bit of cash then. We'll buy some Prime, maybe, hopefully as little as possible though, right? You know, I don't mind doing a little bit of spending, but I don't want to go wild. I am trying to be good with cash at the moment. Says a gacha gamer. They should have known that competition would get tight, seeing as others would want the same traction. They got back there and their downfall was being confident that people will stay regardless. Are we talking about Genshin here? Sorry, Renegade. If you're talking about Genshin, I don't know if Genshin's had a downfall, has it? I think it's just had a natural... I suppose you could argue it's on the downtrend, but I think after 5 years, a live service game, you know, I think if in my opinion, in this space, if you can go 2 years and be profitable within 2 years and still be alive, I think you've succeeded as a gacha business. You know, it's an insanely competitive place, right? Not everybody can be like FGO, can they? Or like Arknights, or like Genshin, or like even a Honkai Impact 3rd, which I know is not making them that much money, but you know, just to be around, right? I suppose there's an argument to be made that maybe if there is ever an argument to say Genshin's had a downfall, it would be from a PR side of things, if you would, you know? Because it's viewed in a particular way, isn't it? But it still prints cash, doesn't it, really? You'll probably get another good spook. Hey, I'll take it. I will take it. I would really like to get it, though. I would really like to get it, though. You're buying KSI's Prime. Dude, I've never drank that shit. Just be careful with Gacha. Yeah, and you know what? Since starting Gacha in 2023, I started playing Gacha games with Genshin, right? Started with Genshin. Played Star Rail. Snowbreak, and you know. So, I'd say, this is a bit of a guesstimate, but it's a roundabout. I'd say on Wuthering Waves, I probably spent 200 to 250 pound maybe in the entire time. So since launch, so in like, you know, just over a year. So 2 to 250. I've spent maybe £40 on Zenless. Maybe. Might be a little bit less actually. Just trying to think. I did spend like £30 on Genshin, but that was viewers telling me to, and they sent me the money to do it. I might have bought a couple of passes on Star Rail as well, so let's say a tenner on Star Rail. And now on Arknights, I've probably spent 50, right about 100 quid, something like that. You know, right about something like that. So in entirety, over the space of 2 years, probably spent like 400 quid on gacha games, which I'm like, because the way I look at games, I look at it as like a time sink, right? Like how much I'm playing a game to how much I'm spending. It's why when I buy a game, so I've spent £40 for a game, right? And I get 100 hours out of it. I'm like, bro, that was a bargain, right? That was like less than 50 pence an hour, you know? Where can you go nowadays and spend less than 50 pence an hour for fun, right? You know, so, because like, to be fair, I've probably spent close to that on Valorant alone. When I played, I hop in now and again, but when I used to play Valorant properly, I probably spent close to what I've spent on the entirety of Gacha. So it's like, we talk, obviously, I'm not defending the Gacha monetization system because it is incredibly predatory, right? But, hey, skins, I had an issue with skins on Valorant, man, right? And there was no Gacha there, he was just buying it straight out. So, yeah. Damn, 100 quids can feed me for a while. I wish I could feed me for a while, man. The UK's expensive now. 20 bucks for Silk Song and I've been playing 40 hours with no end in sight. Exactly, bargain right there, right? But see, like, the way I look at it, right, is if I've played a game for 100 hours, and I don't know if I've ever spent £100 on a game that I've spent 100 hours in. It's usually been more. Like, I'm trying to think how many hours I put into Wuthering Waves. It's like, I want to say I put like 150 hours into Genshin, maybe. Probably about a little bit more into Star Rail. So like Wuthering Waves, probably, I don't know, hundreds of hours, right? So like if I spent £100 on a game and I've played 100 hours, I don't see that as a bad investment. As I said, that's a pound an hour, right? If I went out on a night out, which of course I'm making memories and I'm touching grass, right? Like the other night me and Rosie went out. It was German night at the pub, you know. Probably spent 60 quid. Great night, right? Great night, but that was 60 quid for like, probably in the pub for like 3 hours. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And don't get me wrong, wouldn't change that, right? But it's like, you look at that and you're like, damn, 3 hours for 60 quid, 100 hours for 100 quid. It's like, that's the way I look at video games. So, I don't feel bad like then and go, oh, I've just wasted my money. Because if I've been having fun, I see it as a positive personally. Yo, Neo, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, apparently, is Silk Song good? It's not my kind of game. I've never really been into those sort of games, to be fair, but I'm kind of tempted. Enfield was delayed because Silk Song was releasing in September. Hey, Zero, welcome to the stream. Silk Song is amazing. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a great time. I've not got that. I've played the first one. I haven't played the second one. Is it really hard, is it? Really lives up to the hype. Okay, that's good then. That's good then. Because it's always great when a game that like people have been hyped for, right, actually lives it up to it, right? Because it's on a rare nowadays, right? I'm not saying there isn't good games, but a lot of games rarely live up to the excitement and the anticipation. So that's good to see. I started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey again the other week. The Reverse 90... Well, the other week, like... last week. Reverse 1999's got me really wanting to play Assassin's Creed again. Like, man, Reverse 1999, I'm really in love with that game at the moment. Been loving the Assassin's Creed collaboration. I think they're really good characters. Like, Ezio's super powerful, but fucking sick. Just, designed really well. Really like Reverse 1999, actually. Yeah, I'm going to check out Destiny as well. I'm going to check out Destiny also. That's good then. I'm glad that people... Because I know a few people have been mentioning my Discord for a while. They've been waiting on Silk Song. So, that's good. I've heard that there's been a bit of HP inflation in this tower, right? I've heard that there's been a bit of HP inflation. Obviously, I haven't played it myself, but I've heard it's... potentially a little bit more difficult to clear. Yo, Min Man, what's going on, dude? I'm not touching that trash Destiny gacha. Is it bad, though? Yeah, I've heard Borderlands 4 runs like fucking an asthmatic with one leg, yeah. Heard it runs... It looks cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been tempted to buy it, but like, I've heard it's atrocious how bad it runs, which is a shame. But it does look kind of cool, man. Like, it looks beautiful. I do want to check it out, man. I've been kind of contemplating getting it. We chill. Yo, Blue Eyes is going on. Welcome to the stream. 32 more floors to the middle tower. Oh, is that what they've done? Yeah, what's going on, Blue Eyes? Right, Gaffy, like, you know, it's usually like more HP, right? That'll make it more difficult. The collector's edition of Borderlands 4 doesn't even include the game, so you have to pay 70. Fucking really? What the fuck? Not even like a digital code or something to redeem the game. What the fuck? How much is the collector's edition? What you get in it then? Let me have a look at that, actually. What? 250 quid, okay. And it don't come with the game. Really? Oh my god. That is some fucking bullshit. Bro, I need to have a shave, man, and stop wearing these caps. I swear to God, I looked in the mirror today, yeah, and I was like, dude, I feel like I need to be hauling fucking loads across America. I'm starting to look like a big rig truck driver. Okay, so Borderlands 4 Echo 4 Bundle Collector's Edition includes Echo 4 statue. I don't know what that is. It's like a new version of Claptrap or something. Vault symbol necklace, a map of the Kairos, a set of 4 double-sided lithograph art prints, shift code for 5 golden keys in Borderlands 4. 5 golden keys. Does not include the game. It's like, yo, hey, we've got some keys here. We got codes for keys in the game. Awesome. Yeah, you gotta buy the game though. What the hell? What the hell? Cool figurine though, I must admit. Damn, bro. I used to think I was stupid back in the day getting like the Witcher 3 collector's edition and like Black Ops collector's editions. Like, you know, I bought collector's editions over the times where I've spent like 200 quid, 250 quid. Like, I've still got PTSD over the Witcher one, right? Because I bought the Witcher collector's edition, right? And one day, me and Rosie were having a chill downstairs. We got the duvet. We were having a duvet day, right? We was chilling. We was relaxing. And then afterwards, I was like, yo, I need to set the duvet back upstairs. And I had my figurine on a stand on top of a little, like, plinth by the door. And as I was, like, ruffling the duvet up into my arms, I caught it. I caught the figurine, and in slow motion, man, it was like everything was running at 6 frames per second. I watched it fall to the floor and boss. Oh, still makes me shiver thinking about it now, man. That was a sad moment. Sad moment. It was such a good figurine as well, that collector's edition was, for The Witcher 3. It was rough. It was rough. Yeah, Randy sucks. Randy really sucks, doesn't he? Did Borderlands 3 run bad at launch as well, did he? Yeah, I've heard a few people say that as well, Aki. The Gacha game's actually better than D2, which... Crazy. Never worth it. Bought Persona 5 Royal, played and finished the game after 180 hours. That's money well spent. That's around 24. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Agree with that. Don't let Randy hear you, Biggs. He'll call you poor. Oh, yeah, I think I remember him saying something about that, yeah. That takes me back to the PlayStation 3 launch day. You know, people, look, you got a second job, bro. Are you taking the piss? Big trucking streams in the future. Let's go. I'm telling you, man, I look like I need to get a big rig. Yeah, dude, look here. Bundle does not include a copy of the game. Insanity. Insanity. Jay Slack streaming coming, you know. Bro thought he Spider-Man. Yeah, dude, killed Geralt, man. Gutted. Actually gutted. Yeah, I'm gonna have to download it, man. Just don't try it on stream. Yeah, T, it was horrible. It was horrible. Last time I did anything like that, I brought one of my mum's Ladro figures when I was a kid. And that's the one time my mum's actually clipped me around the ear. That was just bad luck though, man. That was like losing a 50-50. Because like, it fell off the fireplace, right? And it landed on the carpet and bounced onto the fireplace and then shattered. It's like, no, what the fuck, bro? So, yeah. She went mental. She went ballistic. She kept telling me. It was like, if you didn't know, I'm asthmatic, right? I don't really need to use inhalers anymore. But when I was a kid, I needed to. And I used to keep putting my inhaler on the fireplace. And my mom kept telling me, stop putting it on there. You're going to knock off one of my figurines one of these days. And guess what I did? I kept putting it on there, didn't I? And yeah, I knocked one of the figurines off. One time, I've seen my mom truly, really angry at me, man. Destiny collab where? Dude, an Arknights Destiny collab would go kind of hard, actually, wouldn't he? Lost your 50-50 to gravity, bro, for real, man. Losing Gacha since childhood. Straight up, bro. Straight up. She was pissed. She was pissed. In fact, she did tell me, though. She did tell me, and I didn't listen. I didn't listen. Seemed like a good place to put it when I was fucking around, you know what I mean? In hindsight, wasn't. Well, yeah, I remember that, T. It's a shame it didn't happen, right? It's a shame. Do you reckon we could, do you reckon it like, well, who knows, right? Because I don't know where it exactly went down with all that. But like, do you reckon, wouldn't it go so fucking hard in Enfield? Wouldn't it go so, what if that's why it got delayed? Maybe a Hypergryph, like, you know what? Let's put this on the back burner. That you got a Gacha game coming out, right? Right, your Gacha game drops. Not long after that, Enfield drops. We scissor. You know what I mean? We scissor. Like what that's I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. Destiny Enfield collaboration is happening. It didn't work though, right? Sci-fi base, we're in space. Well, yeah, we're on a planet, but you know what I mean. We've got a spaceship we go to. Would go really hard, man. Bro, let the game release first. No. I'm planning the roadmap for post-launch content. Maybe Destiny Rise with the real Arknights collab they made along the way. Yeah, mate, maybe they saw that. They were starting to work and they were like, you know what? Fuck this. They making bank. We want some of that. You know? This is title of the next video. Destiny in Enfield. Million views. By the way, Hoytal, is it actually happening? So are they going to be self-publishing, are they, Yaz? Or they've managed to get another investor in or something? Okay, I'm getting that then. I'm getting that because that's a game I've been waiting for fucking donkeys now. Actually, donkeys. Yeah, because like Riot dropped it, right? They canned it, but I think they allowed the developers. Did they have to buy ownership of the IP back, Yazd, or did they release it? Did Riot just release it? Don't know the ins and outs since like the announcement that it was cancelled. I heard that they'd managed to get like ownership of it or something, yeah. So like I wasn't sure, like did they buy it or did Riot just let it go? If Riot just let it go, then okay, fair play. Who Necro Idle. Fantasy Guardians, Blazing Destiny, all that like Sanctuary there, happy-go-lucky attitude going on, crazy and explosives. Dev has gone silent, but moving is happening. Simon the OG Dev bought, okay, so he bought the rights to it, right? Okay. Yeah, man, I'm here for it then, because like, hey, look, game looked cool, right? Game looked cool. It was basically, you know, obviously we had the servers and stuff. It was basically like, you know, hopefully it looked like Minecraft leaning into the RPG element more and taking things to the next level. What's not to like, right? What's not to like? All right, nice one, Yaz. I'll check that out in a bit then. All right, guys, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream. It's very much appreciated. It helps out a lot as well. We're in a moment of post JT8-3 clarity. It's not post Nut clarity, it's post JT8-3 clarity right now. So obviously we're gonna have a look at a few things today. Check out some stuff as well. If anybody's got anything they want me to react to, if we've got time, we'll do it. We're gonna try and wrap up the story as well. Finish off we just got to go through the last little bit story bit, haven't we? Chapter 8's wrapped up then. Little Bowenny ready to go. We need to go back as well and 3-star the shield stage. Remember the shield stage? We cleared it, but I don't think we 3-starred it, did we? Because we kept letting one dude die. So maybe with all PP now, maybe that can help on that stage potentially. And we need to go back to the freaking Mephisto stage as well, and let Mephisto pass through. Don't we, to get the secret for that also? I don't think we can get the secret for this one, right? What was it to get the secret for JT8-3, guys? What was it to get the secret for JT8-3? I'm sure somebody said I had to use... Do I have to use Amiya? So if that's the case, then I'll just watch that. Is that what it was for Sandy? We just didn't get the secret. Right, okay. You use Amia. Okay. That's one we'll have to watch on YouTube then. Yeah, I've heard, I saw Ethan saying that. He was saying that Jian, Zhang Liao are really looking a little bit long in the tooth at the moment. When she was Amir to defeat Tallulah. Oh, she actually has to be the one that kills her. Yeah, I'll say, I think Ethan was on about that. He was saying that, like, it looks like there's a bit of a HP inflation in this tower. It's inevitable, though, right? It's inevitable it's going to happen. It doesn't mean we were bad. It's just, like, be interested to see if it does start to, like, continue. How people will view it in the space. Because, like, you know, usually HP inflation, bad. Right? Alright. Look at this here. Guys, there's going to be beef in the streets. There's going to be beef in the streets. Ananta and NTE demo booths at the TGS show, right? Or the Tokyo Game Show, because the TGS show is the Tokyo Game Show, right? That's like saying, do you want what is he? Chai T? That's like saying, do you want TT, right? But anyway, they're going to be right next to each other. What was the ad? I don't know, what was it? Give your partner more satisfying sex. 8 in 10 customers say they're able to satisfy their partner in bed through hymns. What are hymns? Is that like Viagra? Okay, there you go. Is Google trying to say something? I think it's... Isn't it in like a week or two? Is it in like a week or two, TGS? Like a week or two, yeah. So, that's kind of freaking crazy. That's kind of crazy. Picture reading ad for it. Actually, right? I should buy... Yo, hook me up, man. Hook me up. I'll pretend they work for me. I ain't against it. So, yeah, they're going to be right next to it. Interesting. That's an interesting choice, right? I suppose it kind of makes sense at the same time, because you're like, what, in your head, obviously, I don't know if they get control over exactly where they go. Obviously, I'm sure they buy the floor space. But it makes sense when you think about it, because they're going to be overlapping, well, it's going to be an overlapping audience anyway, because they're gacha games, right? But there's definitely going to be an overlapping audience between Ananta and NTE, right? So, are we going to see any fecking gameplay for this game before Tokyo Game Show then? Because, like, bro, like, if Tokyo Game Show's in a couple of weeks, because I think isn't it like the 24th or 25th of September through to like the 29th, something like that, right? So we're talking 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, right? You know, wild that we're going to see. It would make, I guess it's a big one to drop it on YouTube the day that TGS and show it off at TGS as well. But it's just like, man, there's going to be, now when they say demo booth, because apparently it was supposed to be playable, right? Playable. So if it's going to be playable, it's like, it just feels like really odd to have nothing right up till a point of the game potentially being playable. Hey, again, a game that I think everybody. I don't think it's the most anticipated gacha, right? But I think it's the like. It's the gacha that's got the most anticipation to actually see what the gameplay is like, right? Because obviously, Silver Palace looked amazing. Still got questions about that game, right? Something just, you know, when you just like, you know, I felt like the dude Dokes from freaking Dexter. I can't prove it. Something smells fishy about Silver Palace, right? Now with Ananta, it smells fishy because we see nothing, right? And a lot of the gacha games now have shown something, even if it's like vertical slice gameplay that you can tell is not really probably how the game will play when it launches, but you got an idea, right? Like, all we've seen is, you know, very, well, we have seen, I suppose you could argue that it's kind of like that we've seen with an Antarite gameplay, but I don't even think that was gameplay, man. I think we just saw in-engine stuff, right? I genuinely think we just seen in-engine stuff. But it's just like, yeah, man, it's just that they're going to be at a massive show, and we've still seen nothing about this game, really. It's an odd one, Ananta is, isn't it? It is an odd one. Oh man, my forearm here is twinging. Back and boys hard today, so I'm feeling it. It's the 25th till the 29th. Right, okay. If an Android's gameplay available, it's going to be bad for NTE. Well, if the trailers have, like, if it keeps up with the trailers, right? Because, like, I felt a bit bad for NTE at first, because, like, when we saw it, and then Project Mugen dropped something, it was like, holy shit, this just looks better. And then we saw NTE do more trailers, and then Ananta drop more stuff, and it was just like, yeah, this looks better. But, obviously, if they keep up with the trailers, then definitely, it could be a bad time for NTE if Ananta is anywhere near what they showed, right? Because what they showed looked pretty freaking cool, right? You know, those gameplay bits that they did show it. Hard to say if it was truly gameplay or was just in-engine. As I say again, it was one of those where it's like, it looked a bit like gameplay, but at the same time, it could have just been easily in-engine stuff that, who knows, right? It just makes me think of things like Watch Dogs. It's kind of like Silver Palace thing as well. When I look at Silver Palace, it makes me think of the initial Watch Dogs trailer, where it's just like, it just didn't look anything like that when it actually dropped. So, if they can keep up with that, then I think it's going to be a rough time for an because I think NTE, sorry, because I think an NTE, I think they did the best thing in showing off demos and the betas and stuff, right? They did, because I respect that. I really do respect that, because, like, they were letting people get involved, and I don't think NTE looks like a bad game personally. I think it looks a more than serviceable game. That's a problem, right? If it just looks more than serviceable, and then Ananta comes along and is actually doing something pretty impressive, it's you know, it's like, do they just launch, or do they potentially delay? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I know it's Neil. And enter about to drug up the entire convention to hallucinate gameplay. During the conventions, most people would have eyes on the demo of an Anta, if there is one. Yeah. It kind of makes sense for them to be together, because you're going to get a crossover, right? It's weird, since NTE is listed as a business area and the place for game showcase is supposed to be taken up for Terra Fantasy for some reason, unless I took 3 spots. I need to have a look through that again, actually, and see what's where, because you do have separate areas where one's more for, like, the play session areas, right, and one's more for, like, the promotion type, PR type stuff, and then, like you say, the I guess, the more, suit side of thing, potentially, maybe. Okay, but the important thing is Enfield next to Wua. Is Wua going to be at TGS? Silver Palace's attack's right off. On Nintendo, we're going to screw over most of the new games. I don't think Wuru's going to be there. You didn't see we were on the list. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Gang war happening, right? NTE looks so unpolished, sadly. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? Like, it does. Oh. Like, I'm not as harsh as some people are on NTE, where, like, some people, like, characters trash. I've seen people really shitting on the characters. I've not really got a problem with it. I think the characters, I think they're fine together, but I don't know if they necessarily sit in the world that well. But I think they look kind of cool. And I like the ideas that they're trying, right? I do like the ideas that they're trying. I just, as you say, I think polish is probably the best, the most apt word for it, really. It's just, but then again, though, launch might be different, right? Launch might be different, I'll give them that. Expect some shanking. It's not London, you know, so if it was London, then, you know. All Anthony to do with me of his NTE show better gameplay. In my opinion, NTE looks unpolished as fuck. Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of think the same thing, to be fair. Yeah, you're not wrong, guys. You're not wrong. You know what I mean? I can't argue with you. You know? Again, I think NTE, the more I see of it, right? I like the ideas. You know what I mean? I think the ideas are really cool. Like the shop, the owning the businesses and all that sort of stuff. That's dope. That is dope. But, like, again, as you say, I think you guys are right. Perfect example is it just looks a little bit unpolished. Bit more time to develop, right? Nantra better recoup people for Ponzi. Pay people, yo. You have to go in like a curtain. And then people come out going, oh my god, best thing ever. With a big fat wad of cash in the back pocket. NTE Gacha is generous, but in my opinion, it's not exciting enough to have a... Exactly, yeah. I'm interested in the way they're going about the Gacha thing, right? Like, and I respect the fact that they even said, hey, we don't even know if this is potentially going to work. And what that means when they say that is from the business side of things, right? I like that they're trying that, right? I do like that we're getting games trying different stuff. So Duet Night Abyss literally step out the Gacha space, right? It's cool to see games trying stuff. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. Just need more time to cook, right? For an ant to just be wearing NetEase, that's, yeah, you're not wrong as well. You're not wrong. Imagine an ant to just shadow drop. Would be funny. Like, literally before NTE. Those guys would be pissed. You just have to consider on whether they give a lot more pulls even when the gacha doesn't have 50-50. Exactly, yeah. I say this all the time. You guys have heard me say it before. You can have the best gacha system in the world, right? If you're constantly having to spend because the game's just tight, then it doesn't matter how good the system is. If you're a paying customer, then you're probably like, well, I was going to spend money anyway, so it's worked out better. But for everybody else, you know, you could have a really kind of rough gacha system, but the game's throwing pulls at your left, right, and center, so you don't feel that impact so much. Time for NTE to be like DNA. I couldn't see NTE surviving outside the gacha space personally, because then really you would be looking at direct competition. Would be like, you know, who's going to play that over GTA, you know? This is why, like, I fear for NTE in a sense, because I think they have to leave into the sim element of it. Because if you're going to create a game, because like what we've seen so far, it's not anime GTA, right? But like, it's like, what can I do in NTE that I can't do in GTA and probably have more fun doing? Do you know what I mean? Other than the story, that like they have to come in with this insanely good story, don't they? I think that's the only way they can really do something personally. Same with Ananta though. You know, I think these games have got to offer a little bit more. And I will say, if it's true what we did see in Ananta, I think that potentially does. Because even though it's hard to say if it was just in-engine or what, you know, when they were showing that gameplay of the character walking along the girder, like, if they can implement the Spider-Man kind of element into the urban city gacha kind of thing as well, that could separate it a little bit, you know? In that, like, you're playing a Spider-Man gacha game in terms of, like, how the combat can work up on top of buildings and stuff like that. Just with the element of being able to race cars and you've got the urban... That I think that could work. That's if it really does play like that, and that wasn't just a small set piece. It's like, you know, they're really linear little on-rails kind of things that the game lets you do now and again, but you can't just... You know what I mean? GTA needs to hurry up. Man, like, I really don't want to get a PS5, man, but, like, I really want to play GTA. You know? Like, it's a torn moment for me. It is a torn moment for me. Because, like, I grew a big part of my YouTube channel off GTA. I used to stream GTA all the time, like, have insane streams, like, right? Like 4 or 5 times bigger than what I get now on an average basis. I really don't want to buy a PlayStation 5. I'm going to have to wait a year, at least, to play it on PC. Can I do that? Like, most games I can, right? I don't know if I can with GTA. I don't know if I can. Especially when I see everybody playing it and talking about how good it is. Because I know it's going to be good, right? I know it's going to be good. Yeah, there's that part of me that's like, I just don't know if I can justify a console for literally one game that then after a year I'll be playing on PC. You know? We're talking still 400 or 500 quid for a PlayStation 5. I'll get everyone second hand, maybe they'll be a bit cheaper. Even still, like, I'm just like, and you know, if I don't get it now, as GTA gets closer and closer, you know second-hand PlayStation 5s are going to go up. And you know that there might even be, I don't know if there'll be a scalping issue because they've got the supply sorted now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see sales go out the window and prices potentially maybe go up. You know, PlayStation recently increased their prices, right? GTA coming to be a perfect time to fucking scalp the shit out of people, right? Because you know for a fact second-hand ones are going to go up in price. because people are going to know that people are literally buying one for GTA, right? I'm waiting for the PC release of GTA 6. Can't afford to or want to. Yeah, I'm in that like same spot myself, man. I could literally go and buy one, right? But I can't afford it in that sense. I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on a console, which could go to anything else. Anything else in life, really, right? You know, I'm an adult. I've got shit to spend money on. And if I could justify it. Or I could just put that in Arknights. No, I'm joking. Not GTA fans, so I'm not getting a console, even if I fight for Ghost of Yote. People are funny, thinking an Anta will give you more GTA experience, but if you know it's the same CN company, NTE got us close. Yeah, see, for me, like, I'm not looking, like, I've joked about, like, NTE being like, oh, it's anime GTA, right? And that'd be kind of fun. But I don't want them to try and do that personally for me, because, like, they're not going to be able to, right, at the end of the day. Because I think to that, you need to be able to do stuff that I don't think a Chinese company are going to want you doing in the game, right? We know what everybody does in GTA. And I think you have to have really good ragdoll mechanics and reactive NPCs as well. One of the most fun things in GTA, as I've said this before, like Red Dead Redemption, is how reactive NPCs are and ragdoll animations and stuff, right? It's some of the best things to do. You know, just like in little things like getting into a fist fight with somebody in GTA. It's fun because of how reactive and how it works, right? So, like, I don't know if you're just going to get that level of anything from something like NTE or an Anta. So, I don't mind them, you know, being like, we'll give you some elements of that. You can go in a police chase, how you can in NTE, and we'll let you do some online racing and all this sort of stuff, right? But I do want them to just learn into being an urban gacha game and use the fact of being urban as the way combat and traversal and all that's going to be involved, and just lean into it like that kind of thing. It's not like playing games with the controller. Everyone to, yeah, I'm kind of like that. And I grew up playing on controller. The only time I play with the controller now is if I'm like playing a driving game or a fighting game or like a platform game, but that's like few and far between, really, if I'm honest. The price increase on the new ones, right? These gacha devs don't seem to realise the more predatory they are, the less people are willing to spend if they're generous, they'll get more. It's kind of like taxing it, like, you know what I mean? Governments sometimes think, oh, if you keep increasing tax, we'll get more tax revenue. But it makes the price of stuff go up. More people are out to work. More people who can afford to get out to paying tax bounce out the country. And then in essence, that increase, it's a diminishing return because you're bringing less tax in as a whole because it's restricting the economy. And it becomes a bit of a poor cycle sometimes. And it's what that's happening in this country at the minute. I'm not saying you can't increase taxes in certain ways to help and stuff. Like, in this country, they should have probably just increased income tax a little bit, but then have the national insurance, right? Which employers are paying more tax in. So guess what employers do? They increase the price of the goods. They reduce the amount of people they're taking on. They even get rid of people. So then really the country ain't bringing any more tax. It's kind of the same sort of thing. And if you make people feel like they're getting something when they spend, more people are likely to spend, right? I think that's what Infield are trying to do, honestly. I think they're trying to make it as encouraging as it can be for low spenders and middling spenders to spend a bit more. Because at the end of the day, we've said this before, right? Whales are going to whale, aren't they? The idea of gacha games now, really, is providing an environment for whales, because whales are whale, but really encourage free-to-play players to become low spenders, because it makes sense, and low spenders to maybe up their spending, and middling spenders just to keep doing what they're doing. And that way then, yeah, the pool of spenders increases massively, and the income goes up massively as well, rather than trying to gouge that smaller and smaller player base, right? Because at the end of the day, over time, then that whale base gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think most gacha games are realizing now that, as well, whales have only got so much money, right? And if they're whaling on one game, they're not going to be whaling on everything, right? So I think it makes sense to go after the middle guys and the free-to-play spenders and stuff, and people who can't afford to do that as well. And as well, be smart. Now, I know it'll piss off some gamers from different countries, but be smart in regions. Make it affordable for people in particular regions where there's currency differences and economy differences. So people who might be from a country where the national wage or the average wage is lower can still maybe afford to dabble here and there because it reflects that country's situation, kind of thing. I buy packs in Arknights even if I'm not hunting for pulls. I just want to show my support to... yeah, exactly. I haven't done that yet, but every single time I spent in Arknights, in my head, I'm like, you know what? Even if I don't get the character, I don't give a fuck, because I feel like the game's given me so much, and it's been an incredibly fun time. I used to be like that with Wuthering Waves, though, as well. To be fair, though, then I desperately did want the character, though. Man, the hookers back for your money in GTA. Yeah, they just won't, will they, Skybirds? Just look at poorly long-time consistent players have been treated. The anniversary really showed me who was more important to Kuro, returnees and new players. Exactly. I tried to say this to people before. I said that businesses, you know, perfect example like with how Virgin was with me. As a customer that's been with them for years, my bill was going to go from £90 a month to £200 a month. But as a new customer, that same package would cost me £80 a month, and I'd get that for 2 years and then it'd go up. You know what I mean? And I tried to explain this to people before, and they was like, nah, that ain't how business works, man. That you don't do that. You look after your customers. It's like, yeah, you do. That's how you keep a customer base. But most businesses, that's why they give out deals to new customers, don't they? And that's exactly what Kuro did, really. And, you know, and people then tried to do mental gymnastics about it. It was just like, I said it was going to happen, you know? To be like, regional prices is a godsend, even regional income, some games. Exactly, yeah, dude, exactly, yeah. I think it's fair, right? I think, if anything, it's not even just about it being fair. It's more profitable, right? If you're gonna price out large parts of your market just because you're gonna look, you know, and that's up to the game developers then to implement systems to stop people using VPNs and stuff to spend, right? I don't know exactly how they do that. That'd be on them to sort things out, right? Stop people from America, like, you know, switching over to be like, oh, let me get to the Philippines or to wherever, because I know some people use to like Japan to do stuff in America to get cheaper stuff in like Wuthering Waves. I'm sure Fox used to do that. But big start whale spend on every gacha ever. At least I'd say the internet portrays it, right? You know what I mean? See, like there's only so many slices of pie, right? And you gotta look at the maximizing it, haven't you? And as you say, even though they're the biggest spenders, whales are the minority, right? They are the minority. They do that in Tarkov, way cheaper to buy the game in Russia. It makes sense, right? Because, like, obviously, the annual income of somebody in, like, Russia is going to be much lower than somebody in Germany or France or Britain or America, right? You know what I mean? It's fair when you think about it. And as I say, as a business, hey, end of the day, if you can turn a bunch of these guys into spenders who are not spending now, more money. Right? More money. Simple, right? Alright, let's have a look at some of this stuff then, because we've been yapping about. I like this though sometimes. It's nice. I kind of wanted to go live for like this today anyway, just to chill and chat, really. It's, you know. Don't cater to well because they're a minority. Got it. I don't understand how people can say Wales won't spend in Enfield, but they obviously... Exactly, they will, won't they? They will, like... End of the day, right? End of the day, especially as the banners get larger and depending on how the banners work, right, and off rates and spooks and all that sort of stuff, Wales are going to spend. They're going to go for those copies, whether or not, because they will, or they'll just... You know, we've seen how some people pull sometimes. There's not always massive amounts of logic in it. It's just, you know... going in, and some people who've got lots of money sometimes think like we do. You know, us as small spenders, how we're like, I want to support the game. There's people out there with fucking millions of dollars in the bank, you know, who think exactly like that. I want to support this game, and they just start swiping because they have a lot of fun with it as well, right? So yeah, Wales is still gonna. I do definitely think Enfield looks like it caters more to, I think specifically low spenders, right? That area where people maybe spend potentially 50 quid a month, something like that. And then the people who may be spending like £5 a month to £10 a month potentially, they're going to benefit the most in Enfield, I think. And I think free-to-play are going to do really well as well. I think Wales are going to do fine, especially with the banner, the way it works, with the guarantee. They're going to be able to spend on every banner. And because it's cheaper to get that, this is what people don't take into account. You might not get the guarantees on the copies, right? But because it's so much cheaper for them to get the guaranteed operator and a 50-50 prior to that, right? Then, you know, they'll be like, you know what? Fuck it. It cost me half the price it did to do it in this other game. Let me go in, or maybe not half the price, 70% of the price. And we go in, and because you're getting rebates on your pulls for weapons, it makes sense to keep pulling, right? Because we spoke about this before, didn't we? There's that kind of sweet spot in Enfield that if you get the character too early, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to get the weapons because you're getting less weapon pulls. So, because every time you pull in Enfield, you're getting currency for your weapon back to pull on a weapon, it kind of encourages Wales in that sense. So they'll spend more and they'll just be farming weapon pulls, won't they? You know what I mean? So it's like, it kind of works, really. Collect and EDC real knives. Wales are going to spend on the weapon banner instead of copies. Every character is going to have a 5-star weapon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as you say as well, you're just going to be able to, as you're pulling hard on characters, you're going to stack up so many weapon pulls. You know what I mean? You're going to stack up so many weapon pulls. Exactly, Agni. Yeah, exactly. I'm already saving 700 pulls plus in Arknights. It's still the best support the games. To buy mine monthly every month to support the devs. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. Though there are a fine line between supporting the game and having a crippling game. Oh, for sure. Right, this is always like, you know, be sensible with what you're spending and never spend more than what you can spend, right? I've always had this thing when it comes to investing and there's return on investment there, right? Is that I look at it as, right, am I okay with basically lighting this on fire in a sense? Obviously, you're getting some back enjoyment, right? But that's the way you look at it. If you're thinking, if you're ever clicking a button, you're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. Don't. You know? Just don't. That's why, like, recently, I haven't minded spending on Arknights. I ain't bought a game for a while. I actually tell a lie. I bought Dark and Darker for like £2.50. And I bought something else. I spent like a tenner on 2 games the other day. I forgot what the other game was I spent. I bought. But yeah, I ain't been buying games where like up until like 2023, I was probably buying a game every month, sometimes 2. So I'd spend 40 to like 70, 80 quid a month on games anyway, on just buying games. So I don't buy games anymore, man. 450 pulls. Damn, man, you guys are stacked. I've got like 10. And then we can farm currency for Gacha. Yeah, exactly, but you're getting them back every pull as well. So it's like, for somebody who might not want to farm a little bit for Gacha, for weapon currency, right? I'll just throw a few extra pulls in. Hey, if I get a good character, buzzing. Got a bunch of extra weapon pulls as well. You know, because it's like you get like the benefit of pulls, don't you? You know, you get rewarded for it. Really, every pull in Enfield is in itself a kind of reward because it's giving you more weapon banner currency. Which is why, like I say, for me, when I see people going, this system's terrible. Why don't they just have money with waves and system roll? 80, guarantee on the 160, weapon banner guarantee. Like, bro, I don't need a separate currency for weapons. Well, I do, but I get it from doing the pulls anyway. Plus, I get the character guaranteed at 120. Shut the fuck up, you know? You know, it's always having some pulls, 700 plus only win monthly card and have 95% of all operator and full limited. 120 to get a character guaranteed, and devs are not going to give you 120 to patch. It's just cheaper to donate few pulls till 120 than another 40, 60. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't get that, right? I wouldn't expect that personally. Like most games don't do that, right? Well, at least the ones I've played, you know, they typically give you somewhere around about, depending on the patch, almost to about 80% to guarantee yourself to get one character in the banner, right? You know what I mean? In the patch, should I say? But then they like, you know, you potentially got at least 2 characters in the patch, so it's like that's how it's smart when you think about it. Because if you can get people 2/3 of the way free to get in a uni, they're more likely to finish off, aren't they? Be like, well, I'll just spend the 20 quid to get over the line. You know what I mean? It's just smart business. It's the way to do it, right? Low spend is a good thing in both games, yeah. Yeah, like I say, I think NTE looks like it's got a good system as well, right? I think NTE potentially has an insane system. It just, like, obviously, like we say, as Easy says as well, there's got to be a catch. Don't know what that will be, but like NTE system seems really good. I'm really, really intrigued. Almost as much as what the gameplay looks of Ananta to see what their system's going to be like, right? You know? Just imagine if Ananta looks like the best thing since sliced bread and the system's just horrid, right? You know? I don't think it will be. But then again, it's NetEase, right? So it's like, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. In where its weapons be needed, right? Exactly, yeah. And so far, obviously, I don't know. You know, some of the alternative weapons in Enfield were pretty decent as well. You know what I mean? So, obviously, we've got to see how things are on launch. Things might change drastically, right? Hey, who knows? We might have an entirely new gacha system. I don't think we will, but we might. You know what I mean? We might get Enfield day one and be like, oh, man, the rug pulled us. 3 pulls is all I need for Monster Mad coping. I'm offering the same thing, bro. I've got like 10 pulls, man, or something like that. I'm with ya. I'm with ya. Yeah, if it's 120 for the guarantee, yeah. So like, what is it? I think is it 62 or 64 when soft bit starts to kick in, and your rates start to go up, and then it's 80 for the 50-50, right? For potentially getting 50% chance to get the on-banner character or an off-banner character, and then 120 to guarantee, right? But again, if it's like the beta, then it looks like we're going to do a standard banner and limited banner kind of thing, because as I say, I got Yvonne. I lost my 50-50 and got Yvonne, and then she was the next banner, weren't she? So, is it really a 50-50 loss if you lose to the second banner in the patch and then get the guarantee? Buzzing? Well, I see. You save on the next banner then, right? Unless you just want to stack some weapon pulls. Slice bread to goated. Well, do we want it only in Enfields? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about challenges in Enfield. I'm not gonna lie. I just can't wait to play. I just can't wait to play Enfield, man. I'm so day one is like Rosie's booking it off work. Rosie's booking it off work. I'm telling you now. I'm gonna, when we know the launch date, if it's on a Friday, she's booking the Friday off. If it's like midweek launch, she's booking those days off, man. Because I am day one going in, and I just want to stream it. I just want to have a laugh with chat, and I just want to play it for all day long. I really do. I haven't felt like that about a game in years, when I'm just like, oh, I can't wait for the launch to just play it all day. Yeah, I can't wait. Enfield no factory challenge, you know, fuck. Saving pulls, what a weird concept to just pull when I can, for real. Build pity, bro. People really forgot how precise the calculator gachas are to keep you just hungry enough to spend. Yeah. And then people just go, bro, got a guaranteed weapon banner, bro. Fuck you, man. Devs love me. Yeah, it's going to be, well, we haven't had the confirmation, but we've kind of, it pretty much confirmed, right? I think The fact that IGN said it, the fact that Apple said it, the fact that we've seen that memo, if you will, that's gone out to potential journalists, whether that's real, who knows. It's just two totally separate entities have said 2026 now. I think it's 2026 anyway. Just makes me think it's no smoke without fire, right? There's no fire without smoke, you know what I mean? There's no smoke without fire. I forgot the saying now. You know what I mean? It's like, just, I think it's 2026, right? It's just when, right? When. I think it's Q1. So we're looking at what? January, February, March. If it's Q1, what do you reckon? If it's Q1, what do you guys think? Early February? Or do you reckon they'll stretch it out right to the last part of the quarter? Looking for like the end of March or something. Do I think a beta might still come in 2025? Yeah, I'm really confident there's going to be a beta in 2025. You know that IGN tweet? I know people are like, yeah, you can't trust IGN. I think that if we're going to believe that that memo was correct, and we've seen that Apple have said 2026, I think that statement about the beta, I just think that was a tweet that was supposed to be written for a later date. That I don't know if they were using AI, it got lumped in there, and you know, because like you have to remember that was a sponsored article thread, that was right. So I think there is going to be one. I think maybe after Tokyo Game Show, I think there'll be something. Maybe I'm wrong, right? And I'll own up to it. Whatever. I'm just coping, I guess. But I do think there's going to be another one. You know, maybe just one, just a straight up open beta. Maybe I don't know. Mid-January, you bet. March. IGN felt like a weird poll's not even mentioning consoles or mobile, but yeah, it's probably 2026 too. Yeah, I do. I think there was a spelling mistake in that post as well, Agni. I think that post was just a fuck up. It was either something that was spammed out attached to. Because like probably somebody like went into something like ChatGPT, had all the information, was like, write me so many tweets, and then fuck something up, like, and maybe they added some, I don't know. It just a bit weird one. It was just a bit weird. You know, it was like betas out now, open betas out now. Like what? I don't get me wrong, it's IGN, but why would they pluck that from thin air on a sponsored article? So they'd have obviously had contact with Hypergryph. It wasn't that they were just making an article for the sake of it. Hypergryph had paid them money to write an article. So there'd been some communication. And then it's obvious there's been some communication with Apple because they were advertising it on their phones. And then they say 2026. So it just makes me think that maybe it was a balked tweet, right? You know, it's again, it had spelling mistakes. It was a messed up tweet. I kind of think it was real. Honestly do. I kind of think it was real. Release it the same day as GTA 6. Be CBT for mobile. We've already had one for mobile though, haven't we? Maybe it'll be an open beta for mobile. Because like the CBT for mobile was an NDA one, wasn't it? So maybe it'll be a proper CBT maybe, where people can show the gameplay off and stream it and stuff like that. And talk about it actually. Might be right, yeah. Is Enfield Banner going to be like, I don't know. I wouldn't think so, because just by the fact of it being a 3D game with high fidelity, they're not going to be able to create characters at the pace that they could in something like Arknights, right? Because character design aside, it's a lot easier to make a little chibi character, and then the difficulty comes in with the kit, right? That's where it probably takes a little bit of extra time. It's a lot easier to produce the character, right? So probably, me man, yeah. Probably, yeah. Somebody, because like you've seen the amount of tweets. Just go to IGN's Twitter, and a day will go by, and you will have to scroll for ages to see a tweet from the day before, because they pump out tweets like crazy. As you say, they're probably using a bit of AI, but there's probably some dude who's just there, just like, just typing away, like, you know what I mean? Why can't we? Yeah, it'd be nice now. It'd be nice. I think most gachas should lean into that once they get a big enough pool of characters anyway. We know why they don't, right? But it'd be cool, wouldn't it? So like, Again, we'll have to see how Enfield are going to do that exactly, right? Who knows? Maybe it'd be awesome, right, if the game's been made, because, like, the beta was polished as hell, right? So, like, what if the game's ready to go? They've just been tweaking some things like the dodge stuff and all that sort of stuff, right? Getting the mobile version ready, getting all the games to work over crossplay, and they've just been building units. Building units. Maybe haven't got the story for them yet. Maybe haven't necessarily got the names for them yet. Maybe the actual designs are not exactly fleshed out, but the units are built, they're rigged, they're ready to go, and they can just start, like, at a decent pace, lamping out a decent amount of units. And I'm not just talking, like, 6 stars. I'm talking about, like, 5 and 4 stars, like, you know what I mean? IGN has a chimpanzee from Lex Luthor tweeting, you know? Okay, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Even though I can make PD 100 pulls and drop 50-50, I'll be willing to do that more. I think Kuro was smart in just... Because, like, I've seen some people say, right, that, you know, and I'm not saying that it's a copy. It's the same photo in terms of Wuthering Waves to Genshin, right? But let's not, you know, let's not fucking play around with it. We know, right? And that's not bad. It doesn't mean it's bad. I think Kuro's MO for a while. Again, I haven't played the game since 2.2, so I'm not too sure. Their MO was, honestly, let's kind of do what Genshin are doing, but we'll try and make it that bit better. And whether that bit better is subjective, whether it's just better in terms of fun, a bit more generous, or something like the same, pretty much the same fucking gacha system, right? Just 10 less pulls, or 20 if you think about the guarantee, and then we just make the weapon guaranteed, right? That's kind of been their thing. Is like, we'll do something similar, but just a little bit better, or a little bit more generous, or something that could be seen as better. So it's like, I think they were really smart to do that, because people were just like, holy shit, a system that I've been willing to spend money on over here now is just a little bit better. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that as well, Linarth. I hope they're in a position where the game's ready and there is hammering post-launch content, right? So they give themselves like a 6 to 8 month buffer of, after launch, everything's ready to just basically be switched on, and now their post-launch thing is doing the next 6 to 8 months worth of content. You know what I mean? Norman Reedus is an op. Bro, I said this before, man. A zombie kind of thing in Arknights would go hard. Walking Dead would actually go kind of hard in Arknights, wouldn't he? Don't you reckon? Like, it would, man. Because, like, you think about it, Plants vs. Zombies, Arknights, Walking Dead, zombies, and that'd fucking go hard, man. I actually would go hard. And, like, Norman Reedus, Daryl's character's, like, perfect, right? You know what I mean? Give him little dog ears. That better is Flash. Well, that better's subjective at the end of the day. I'm not just... Well, I suppose, like, there is a subjective element. You know, just like what they did with the tower. It was kind of, like, same as Genshin's, but, like, people would argue that subjectively, that, like, you know, it's just a bit better of a system. The gacha, it's the same gacha, just a guarantee on the weapon and a little bit better of a system, right? You know what I mean? But again, it's subjective though, isn't it? You know, it's just subjective. That's it, at the end of the day. Like, the gameplay itself is subjective. Doesn't matter what anybody tells you. No matter who tells you, you know, I, for one, preferred Wuthering Waves' gameplay over Genshin. But just because I do, doesn't mean it's better, right? Some other people will tell you, nah, it's just factually better. And it's just like, it's enjoyment. It's not objective at the end of the day, is it? Then we went to get some food and we're still here. Yeah, I'm just waffling, man. I'm just waffling. What, in Death Stranding 2, Skybird, is it? Pick all over Enfield. Enfield coming out early 2026, and they say we get Suicibly in the game. They could have a whole class and call it Dead Hunters, right? You know, like you could have what's her name? It's the lady with the sword now. It's got a fucking name, man. She, you know, could be a guard unit, right? Like Daryl, like as a range unit. You could maybe have Rick as a range unit as well. Like I know a lot of people would be gun users, but you could tweak it, right? They could play with stuff, right? Michonne, that's it. That's it. Yo, what's going on, Mr. Comment? Nah, we just been chatting, dude. Zero. Honestly, people go stupid when subjective opinions get thrown around, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's like perception doesn't exist anymore, right? Wait. How could you like this more than that? What? What? What the fuck is that? And in the bathroom. Alright. What's this here? Enfield pre-registration seems to end on January 14th. I checked on Clan Hypergryph's community site myself, and according to what I found, the Enfield pre-registration is set to end on January 14th at 4 o'clock. I saw it through the browser dev tool, so please take a look as just a reference. Technically, it is coming as early as 2026. So, like, from when games end the pre-registration, what's the average time to launch after that? It's you. I might be tripping it. We're usually looking like four weeks or something. Yeah. I don't even know, Blue. I don't even know. I didn't even know about this. A few days. I remember Genshin pre-reg going on at launch still. Oh, really? Most games do tend to drop just before, right? Just before. But sometimes it can be weeks, right? And like you say, some go right up to the deadline as well. So it's kind of like, you can't really look too much into it. Like, what was the deal? How did they run it with Arknights? How did they deal with pre-registrations when it came to Arknights? That'd probably be the best bet to get an idea, I would assume. Go off their own history, maybe. You know? They're really cutting it close to Arknights global launch, which is January 16th. Negan guard if he's back. Yes. Yes. Get Lucille out. That'd be fucking dope. Depends. Someone in the comment gave an example. It was 100 days. Oh, what? In here. So pre-release announcement soon. Ah, here we go. Here we go. What's this here? If they do like Huyo/Kuro, the announcement should be the last week of November or first week of December. Genshin, 42 days between announcement and release day. Honkai Star Rail, 33 days. Zenless Zone Zero, 35 to 40 days. Wuthering Waves, 54 days. That said, apparently, Arknights was 154 days. Right. Game Awards, 100%. I wish I released a game before February because, man, the game's gonna, games that were released during February are going to be heavy-hitting AAA titles like Resident Evil 9 and even GTA 6. Is GTA 6 dropping in February, is it? January 14th, that'll be my 120th guess. Enfield January 14th. So some people are thinking like, bang, it's not gonna be the same day. It's not gonna be the same day unless like it like overlaps with the launch and the game's out by then. If this was the case, right, and this is true, and it ends on the 14th, then it makes me think that March might be more likely then. You know? And that's just a gut feeling. That's genuinely just a gut feeling. Said late January, late 2026 for GTA. That's just a gut feeling. There's nothing behind that. I've got no evidence at all. It's just kind of a gut feeling, you know? And I don't know why. There's just this part of me that doesn't think February will be the release for it. But I think it's either going to be January or March. And again, it's just a straight up gut feeling. I've got no evidence for this at all. It's kind of how I feel, right? I feel it in my waters. I feel it in my bones, you know? I feel it in my fingers and my toes. But, yeah, I don't know. Enfield tomorrow, guys. This doesn't matter. You'll be able to pre-register the game a few months after it launches. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All right, then. We got some stuff to check out. Guys. Rating Gacha game endgame content from worst to best. You guys interested in check this out, yeah? Let's have a little look what's going on in r/Gacha gaming at the moment, chat. Just saw that. 7 Nights Rebirth. Pre-download starts now. Western Gacha Drama versus CN Gacha Drama. What's this? Western Gacha Drama. You leave. No. You leave. Nuh-uh. Leave. Chinese Gacha Drama. Good day, sir. I came to kill your CEO of the bunny girl skin. I know you are cute, but you have to die for the cause. That character is evil. Sir, you are doing illegal activity, so you are getting sued by the company. I'm gonna kill myself. Damn, bro. You know, it's not that far from the truth. Is this Britain? That looks potentially very British. Potentially very British. Right. So I'll refrain from commenting because us Victorians, you know, we'll say no more. We'll say no more. What's this? An anti JP on X announcing demo booths. Now to hope that the game is not optimized like crap. Okay. Wizardry Daffrin manga adaptation confirmed. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Apparently this has got a decent... Has this got a decent story to it? Like, this was like the hot topic for a while, wasn't it, this game? And it just fell off. And I don't mean the games fell off. But I don't know what it's doing in terms of revenue. But, like, everybody was playing it. Everybody was saying, yo, best thing since sliced bread. But nobody talks about it anymore. It's kind of like one of those games. It was like it was hot for a moment, wasn't it? Honkai Nexus anime hiring artists with experience using generative AI for 2D art. I know people have made this into a big thing, but I think there's going to be a lot of companies doing this now, right? Let's have a look. Job responsibilities: participate in the exploration and use of AI tools in 2D art production, contributing high-quality art content that aligns with the project's art style requirements, have a good foundation in art, a strong sense of structure, and be skilled in using composition principles for design, approach work from a project perspective, ensuring stylistic consistency and high quality across all stages. Be proactive in exploring the use of AI tools, building corresponding tools and pipelines to support development and production. Job requirements: familiar with at least one AI GC related tool, e.g. Midjourney. I've used Midjourney a little bit. I've used a bit of Stable Diffusion as well. Never used DALL-E. Strong sense of aesthetic with a good grasp of Japanese style art, visual balance, color usage and creativity. Strong learning ability, proactive, responsible with good teamwork and communication skills. Passionate about games with rich gaming experience and personal insight. Please include a portfolio with your resume, providing links to personal pages, platforms such as Weibo, ArtStation, Lofter, Pixiv, Bilibili, School, Behance, etc. Okay. So, for 2D art, though, so... I don't... Like, obviously, when you hear AI, right, in artwork, you do think... What's the creative side of things going to be like? Yeah, it makes you worry, right? It does. But let's play devil's advocate here a little bit, right? One, I think a lot of companies are going to be doing this anyway, so it's not like this is going to be specific to Hoyo. But when they're talking about 2D art, this could potentially be character design, right? But I'm going to think that I think it would be wild if they did go for a game for a company like Hoyo, now, I believe that Sword of Convalaria do use some AI tools when it comes to creating their characters. I believe some of the characters, at least, anyway. And then I think somebody comes along with a bit of a human touch after the fact. I don't know how true that is. I've heard that. But if this is potentially maybe for assets, right? For, like, assets in the background, assets that are just used to chuck in the back of, like, splash art and stuff like that. Personally, don't really have an issue with that, personally, right? If it's gonna speed up production and it's just stuff that's just like extra assets to be, it's not like the design of characters and the design of like the bigger environmental design, enemies, you know, that sort of stuff. I wouldn't like that to be the case, because I think a company like Hoyo, and a game that looks like it does, I think it would be a bad move, especially at the end of the day. If it's AI, right? Obviously, I know there's the philosophical argument around AI, but let's take that out of the argument, right? If it doesn't look like AI, then hey, you know, the worry is it's going to look like AI, right? That's the problem. That's the problem, because some AI stuff, it just looks, you know, it depends on how it's done. As I say, if it's used and then as to help speed up production, and then artists come in and actually work on top of it to make things look better, I personally, I don't so much have an issue with that at all, really. I'm not one of these people that's massively against AI anyway, but I get the philosophical arguments and the moral arguments around, like, you know, regarding artists and all that stuff. I get it. I honestly get it. I get where people are coming from. I am the type of person, sometimes I am a little bit of a consumer viewpoint kind of thing. I'm like, as long as the thing I'm paying for looks good, feels good, plays good, I'm kind of okay. As long as somebody's not being hung from the rafters by the toes. Then again, if the game's really, really good, I don't know. I'm just joking, but, you know, if, like I say, if it is used for, like, sort of, like, background assets and stuff like that, I don't think there's a major problem there, right? But I guess we'll just have to see, really. Let's see what the comments are saying then. Curious to see what people are going to say. Bruh, that's it. We know it's going to be a low-quality cash grab. What I read, it seems to be more the tools and not the result, right? Do correct me if I'm wrong, even if it states that you need to have strong foundation in art and not prompting, also available. Well, I think if you're going to be creating the tools, the likelihood there is that, you know, it does say about exploring the use of AI tools, right? And potentially, where was it? Where did he say? Good function in art, foundation in art, strong sense of structure, and be skilled in using composition principles for design. Participating in the exploration and use of AI tools, art production contributed. So it's going to be, I think potentially it is going to be something around maybe potentially building tools, but using tools that are already there. Again, there's nothing here that specifies exactly what it's going to be, right? This is kind of a generic job post, but I'm gonna lean into thinking this is probably just for more like background assets, you know, just like background assets. Let's see what you guys are saying. I've lost you. I'm way behind. We're so chilling. Well, the AI here is like dementia. High quality and AI doesn't go together. He posted a funny video on React Smash about Killing Floor. As an artist, that's a yikes, but to be honest, Dwayne Hoyo have talked a lot about being interested in older ITW already. People really need to read those and not put gacha companies on a pedestal. Exactly, yeah, exactly. I agree with that as well. I think we're doing that a little bit too much in the space, aren't we? And act like they're not here to make money, end of the day. As long as, again, I will admit I'm a bit of a selfish consumer, right? I spoke about this before, you know, when people like, I don't like this game because that system's kind of taken from another game. And I'm like, hey, if they've improved on that system, I'm kind of okay with it. But I do, like I say, when we talk about the philosophical argument, the moral argument, the implication, should I say, in regards to artists and stuff like that, you know, there's got to be protections. We've spoke about this before, right? There's got to be protections. But like I say, if it comes in and it's to help artists, to help speed up their workflow, to add, you know, to potentially, like, help stuff in the background, you know? I think I'm okay with it. I'd like to actually, considering you're an artist, and any artists who might be in the chat, and if you do upload this as a video, any artists out there, are you cool with that? You know, tools such as that, not being used to do the character design itself, let's say, but potentially to help facilitate an increase in your workflow, to just maybe streamline your workflow. So you are still at the core of creating this character, this environment, whatever it might be, but they're there to help facilitate, you know? It's like you look at it like in terms of video game design, right? Assets are there for a reason, right? I'm not saying it's in a one-to-one, but you know what I mean? I'd be interested to see what you guys have got to say about that, to be fair. This could also be for concept art, though it doesn't give me faith in the final products. Using tools to create a pipeline reads as assistive AI use rather than making it do the whole job. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Easy. That's what I'm thinking, is somewhere to potentially facilitate maybe a faster workflow for the actual artists, right? So they're not bogged down on tweaking loads of little stuff in the background, and they could just get on with doing the big stuff, and the AI helps just fluff the whole thing out, kind of thing, basically. It's just a pull for reference and testing concept arts, probably. As long as I didn't lie and admit using it, AI, it's all right. And speaking as an artist myself, okay. Well, you don't hire an artist to build tools, but software engineers, so they will use existing ones. But yeah, that's a good point as well, actually. I suppose they're probably looking for a bit of a jack of all trades there. Somebody who maybe potentially can learn that sort of job. But as you say, it does make sense that you'd bring in software engineers rather than somebody who's got an art background there, right? But I suppose as well, maybe there's the argument that could be looking for people who are a little bit more savvy on the engineering side of things, but have got an eye for things rather than actually being an artist. I suppose that could totally change what the job would be then, and maybe you'd think that maybe the AI might be doing a little bit more of the legwork. It's going to be give an inch and they'll take them all. They won't just use it for background assets. It's a fair point. It's a fair point, right? End of the day, companies are here to make money, aren't they? And if they can make production cheaper and profits higher, they're going to do it, right? They're going to do it. As long as you didn't lie for using AI, it's alright for most artists. Time to generate an alter version of a certain character. What's really stopping them from slowly using it more and more? Fair points. Fair points. If it was being used as a tool like to facilitate and smooth out workflow and etc., I would agree with that. If it was to directly replace a creative workflow, that is something I'm against. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not an artist, right? That's not my career. If I was, I would totally be okay with tools that could help my workflow. But then it's getting those protections in, right? Because you don't want that thing that starts off as a little thing to help you, and then 2 years down the line, it's now doing your job, right? So, yeah. If it saves them money and personnel, they would do it, true. I don't mind AI itself, but then you see when you see a game and you know what you're looking at, AI works, I don't like it. It's all about making me believe it's not. Yeah, fair point, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like special effects in a way in movies, right? The best special effects are the ones you don't notice are there. So I guess it's kind of the same with when it comes to like AI. If you don't notice it, then I suppose that's the good stuff, right? And that's where, like I say, if it's used as an extra little tool to add on to an artist's work, then, you know, it all depends on intent, honestly. That right now a lot of people out there are less reasonable at the moment because AI is so controversial. Yeah, I do think that is a bit of a thing with AI at the moment, right? Now, I'm not saying a lot of people's fears aren't potentially warranted fears, right? But I do think it's like one of those, it's a hot topic. As soon as you mention it, people are like, oh, you know, it's like, it's, you know what I mean? It's a no-go, never, nah, not even a little bit. But it's like, I think it's about getting robust protections, especially for artists, right? But then allowing AI to facilitate faster workflow, but making sure it protects the artist. Because if you don't have to work a 14-hour day and you can do an 8-hour day, but still get the same amount of work done, I'm sure most people would want to do that, right? As long as they know their job is protected and their creative expression is protected as well. Keep seeing Sienna's anti-AI rule, exclusive rules. Also all the layouts in artists in CN due to AI. Layoffs, I'm assuming, yeah, in artists due to AI. It's really bad, so people already fear about it, and that's fair. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, as I say, I do think people's fears they're warranted, right? They are, because we've seen some of the insane stuff that AI can do. Now, sometimes it looks uncanny valleys, right? AI stuff does. But there is some incredibly impressive stuff you can do with AI with very small prompts, right? You know? It's impressive. So, like, again, I think it's about getting that balance, isn't it? If it can facilitate artists getting stuff done faster, and even if they're people who are, like, doing gig artwork, right, if they can facilitate using AI within their own creative works, it allows them to work faster for customers, maybe potentially produce artwork cheaper for customers as well, so it can make them have faster workflows, be more profitable. It's about finding this middle ground, though, isn't it? This is where I think robust regulations are needed to protect people, but at the same time, it's a technology that I think is incredibly useful, right, if used right. You know, it's like when you think about it, when cars came in, a lot of people were involved in like horse and cart stuff. It was considered. Have you seen the old electricity wire stuff? And you got like the spider light bulb watching out, and the horse is all tangled up in the wires and stuff. There was a time where people were like anti-electricity, and I'm not exactly comparing them, right? You know what I mean? I think it's all about protection, but advancement at the same time, right? Thinking about the recent League of Legends music video. What happened with that? As long as it doesn't directly place human creativity behind it. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Generated never beats handmade. Facts, right, facts. To be fair, we're also talking about gacha companies that are also here to make the most profit they can out of their game, so it's fair to be suspicious. Yeah, and you're not wrong. We've seen what they do, right? You know, and even if they're not just gacha companies, end of the day, most businesses are here to make money. People lord up companies. End of the day, their number one rule, make money, especially if they've got investors, make as much money as possible and as little work as possible, right? And the potential scary thing with AI is it can do that, right? And look how fast AI has advanced just in the last couple of years, man. It's going to be crazy over the next 5 years. Like, it's going to be insane. But as you say, I am in that belief, and I guess some of you are kind of thinking the same sort of thing there, right? As long as it's facilitating improvement in people's working ability, you know, ability to work faster, have a better working environment as well, or as long as there's full-on protections to make sure people aren't out of a job as well, because that's the way I kind of think of it personally. Okay, all right. I've heard some talk about the lack of artistic value in AI simply because it was were a person you can wonder about specific choice, but when it's an AI, we just saw it somewhere enough times. Cheap word doesn't guarantee quality, unfortunately. This is true. The thing is as well, expensive work doesn't also guarantee quality, does it as well? So, yeah, but I agree. It replaces human, in this case, placing concept artists. Yeah, I think that there's a potential for AI to replace a lot of jobs, right? A lot of jobs. As long as it's not to train the tools and the artists I hired only to use it. Yes, this is the thing, right? Is to use it as a training tool to basically they're working to create the tool for them basically to replace them, right? I agree. Okay, all right. Okay, I like that. That's a fair, nuanced take from people there. I think that's fair. Because sometimes, like you say, you guys, you're right, you know, you talk about AI and it's like the boogeyman and people are like, don't care. No, burn it. And I think sometimes that's maybe a little bit of an extreme way to look at things personally. But as I say, I think people's fears are warranted when it comes to AI. Especially when it's your job. If you've got to college or university for a particular job and then you find out, hey, your job might be worthless now. That's a scary proposition, right? And I think it's fair for people to be scared. You know? We'll look at that then. Alright, so, what's this here? The sales of Arknights having Mujika collab merchandise are astonishing. The sales revenue exceeded 12 million RMB. What the fuck is RMB? Within a week, and more than 450,000 units were sold. Damn, that's kind of impressive. Jeez, that did sell a lot of units, right? Look at that. 44,000 plus. Alright. Damn. Is it the Chinese yuan? Is it? Okay. Alright, okay. Damn. Okay. Alright. So what's that? 12 million RMB. What's that? Is that like what's that in dollars? Was it 1.6 mil? I've done that right. Is it 1.6 mil? 1.2 mil? Pretty impressive. I think that's pretty impressive, right? For merch. For merch. Holy shit, man. Some games wish they could do that in the fucking banners. Right? Holy cow. Alright, impressive. That's pretty impressive. Okay. We'd like to see it. Love to see it. We'd love to see it. Alright, should we watch some, let's watch this one then, shall we? Man, it's good free. Fuck. Rating gacha games, endgame content. Should we do this one, guys? If I graduate and I find out AI's replaced me and I want my time refunded, please. Right. Yeah, no, I was googling. All right then. All right, let's check this one out then, shall we, guys? Let me pause the music. Let me get chat back up as well. Let's have a look at this one from Moose on Caffeine. Rating gacha games endgame content from worst to best gacha game endgame content lists. Okay, be interesting. I'm liking the idea of this one. So obviously the big games are probably going to be in here. Your Genshins, your Star Rails, your ZZZs, your Wuthering Waves. I'm hoping something like Arknights is going to be in there because as somebody who's only dabbled a little bit, I think it's got a really good endgame endgame content. I think originally Star Rails felt like it had really good endgame for me. Wuthering Waves, controversial opinion, endgame content-wise, it's not the best. You know, Depths was brilliant. Wish we had more of that. Whimpering Waste kind of sucks ass, if you ask me. Terror Adversity kind of blows. I like holograms, but there's not enough done with them personally. I do like how they've improved on the way the holograms work and we're getting the new holograms that we get now, but I just wish there was some replayable ways and resets for holograms personally, because I think that's where Wuthering Waves shines. But anyway, let's get into this list then, shall we? From the worst to the best. All right, what we reckon's in here, chat? What we think's in the list? What's in the list, man?
Welcome back. In any gacha game that you play, endgame content is some of the most important content that exists.
Oh, nice. Okay.
After you're done with everything the game has to offer.
Bro's got Battle Cats in there again. Dude, he's not stopping the PR move for Battle Cats, is he?
Which, in this genre, that'll probably happen quite frequently. There's nothing else to do. I hear quite a lot of people say that endgame content is unimportant, or it's just
Wish Simulated Universe is better though.
But that sentiment is incredibly incorrect, as endgame content is one.
Like, for me, I think Star Rail was one of them when it felt like it started off kind of strong in that regard. It just doesn't feel like it ran with it for me. But then again, I haven't played Star Rail for like a year now, so I don't even know where it's at the minute.
The biggest drivers for player retention when content is dry. So in this video, we're going to take a bunch of gacha games like I usually do, and we're going to rank their endgame contents from worst to best. We've got the most popular mainstream gacha games, as well as your guys' favorite, as well as my favorite gacha games in this video, so stick around. But before we get started, we're getting very close to 10,000 subscribers, so make sure to like and subscribe. Because I'm going to be doing a giveaway when we do, and you should also join the...
It seems mad. I thought Moose had way more than 10,000 subscribers. Dude does make decent content. Don't agree with all of the opinions, right? But I think he puts out some quality H2O. Thought he had more than 10k subs, man. Hit that sub button, guys.
The Express Train Discord server for a lovely community to hang out with. Now let's get onto it. So the rules are going to be as follows. I'm trying to make my ratings way less arbitrary and more detailed. So I've got a detailed rating system here. There will be a base rating of 1 out of 10 for each game for symmetry's sake, and 3 criteria, each with a score out of 3. So with a base rating of 1 out of 10, and if each criteria receives a 3 out of 3, the final score will be a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
The 3 criteria will be enemy quality, how well designed the enemies are, how fun they are to fight when it comes to mechanics and the amount of HP they have, as well as how frequently they are reused in the endgame content. Mode quality is in how well designed the modes are, how unique they are from each other, and how fun they are to play. The final criteria is FTP accessibility, which means we're going to talk about HP inflation and power creep again. Yay! This is a very self-explanatory...
I think they're all fair points. I think they're all fair points to have in there, right? You know? As three main focuses.
Criteria, and is also very objective, so no further explanations there. For the
Man, I think I have a bit of a different opinion. HP inflation on the front of it, right? From a simple point of view, it's bad. But I've spoken about this before. For me, Hypergryph in itself can be done right in terms of the speed of it, how often older units get kind of made redundant, if they do get made redundant, and potentially how updates at later dates can bring up older units, you know, such as things like modules for Arknights, or just patches, or kit improvements, or a new character coming out to facilitating the improvement of an older character. I'm not necessarily one of these people that's just like, well, the HP of enemies has gone up, even though I don't think it's the best way to make content more difficult. I don't always think it means bad, because as characters come out and change the game, sometimes it's needed to tweak enemies, right? Now, that would be better if they were tweaked in a better way. So I suppose you can argue that it's bad, but I don't think it's just as that simple, personally. And that's where, like, and it's not even just that a character's more powerful, so enemies need to be able to take more hits. Sometimes just the way kits synergize together, it just, you know, it might even be from, especially from a mechanical expression game, it might be just mechanically, things can be done a bit quicker because of the way characters work, rather than them being outright just stronger. I suppose you could argue that's still a strength metric in a sense, but you're always going to have that, because characters will become very one-dimensional at the end of the day, won't they? Then, if everything has to be so stringent, I think after a year or two, it's inevitable that there's going to be some kind of increase somewhere to facilitate interesting character progression, in my opinion.
Final rules: I'm not going to count events as endgame content unless it's basically the only content available in the game, and exploration is also not counted as endgame content. I will either be taking modes that the community considers to be endgame content, or I'll be taking any modes that exist and seeing if they fit the definition of content that is made to test your account.
Okay.
So again, exploration and most events, as well as any modes that buff you up to oblivion. So
HP inflation such as way only benefit the current banner characters. Yeah, agree with that.
For example, don't count. Oh, and the list is in order
gimmicks,
from worst to best,
right?
just as usual. So, with all these rules out of the way, let's get started. We're going to start off with Limbus Company. And this game is one of the most beloved gacha games.
Still yet to play this. I'm going to be playing this very soon. We've done chapter 8 now. We just got to finish off the story bit of it. We are going to play Limbus Company very soon. I'm really looking forward to it.
Of all time by its player base, they all collectively hate the endgame content, so it has two modes, Mirror Dungeons and Refraction Railways, the latter of which barely even exists. It only resets once a season, so around once every 7 months. The other mode, Mirror Dungeons, though, resets once every week. You can either do a hard Mirror Dungeon to get all the rewards, or 3 lower difficulty ones. Now, Mirror Dungeon is a roguelite mode, and unfortunately, it is one of those modes that really buffs up your account quite heavily. To the point where, in Mirror Dungeons, a lot of the progression your account can see inside of it is just clearing faster than before. However,
yeah, that's the kind of roguelike I'm not a fan of. I think a lot of roguelike modes fail in that sense, where it's just like, it's just you coming back with a little bit more of a kick, right? You got a bit more oomph in the hits, and it's just like you're basically doing the same thing but stronger, rather than the content actually being different.
However, because Limbus Company has no other modes besides this and the railways, I'm going to have to penalize it to make up for that. Just a quick PSA though, while editing this video, 5 extra floors have been added to Mirror Dungeons in the name of Extreme Mirror Dungeons. However, I don't think they add enough to warrant a different rating than what I'm going to give. If
Again,
anything,
can't really speak on this, not played it yet, so...
to the mode quality section. However, I don't think I'm going to do that here. So, to start off with enemy quality, in Limbus Company, enemies are very well designed. They have many different mechanics that you have to play around, and while I myself don't enjoy the combat in Limbus, and it actually was the reason I stopped playing this game, because I'm a gameplay first type of guy, those who do...
I've never really... What is the issue with the gameplay? What is the issue with the gameplay? Because, like, I've heard nothing but positives about Limbus, right? But when anybody does kind of point out a weakness, people do often mention the gameplay. But what is it? What is the game? What is the problem with the gameplay?
Find the combat fun. Also find the enemies very well designed and fun to play against. However, since the railways rotate so infrequently, they have the same enemies for a whole season. The Mirror Dungeons mode also receives a lot of complaints about how repetitive combat feels inside of it, and to move around that, players started making their own challenges to even have fun in the game, like solo runs. In the end, I'll give it half credit for having very well designed enemies.
Gameplay is hard to grasp as a new player.
Feel repetitive, so 1.5 out of 3. When it comes to mode quality, well, to be fully fair, Mirror Dungeons does have a few challenge achievements.
RNG, right, okay.
Gameplay. So aside from players making their own challenges, they can also
tutorials used to be shit. Okay.
Challenges. However, that still didn't stop players from complaining about how repetitive Mirror Dungeons is. Refraction Railways isn't much better, again, because it rotates so damn slowly. My opinion, as well as the community's opinion, is the same. Both modes are incredibly boring. To give an example that appeals to a wider audience, imagine that in Honkai Star Rail, Apocalyptic Shadow and Pure Fiction didn't exist, and the MOC only rotated once every 4 patches or so, and the only other piece of content you could do was the Divergent Universe.
Is that a fair comparison? Again, not played Limbo, so I can't really say that.
It would get pretty damn boring, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, in this criteria,
it's better now, people seem to be warming to him.
0 out of 3. When it comes to F2P accessibility, though, you can clear the game with basically
okay, you just mentioned that, yeah.
Again, remember that in Mirror Dungeons, you can do solo runs, and those solo runs could be with basically any character in the game. Refraction Railways is also very similar, allowing you to use so many different characters. Either way, you can also just get every single character in the game by just grinding. So, in F2P accessibility, Limbus Company will receive a full score of 3 out of 3. However, like we said, Limbus will be penalized because Mirror Dungeons is the only endgame content that frequently rotates, but it's a roguelite mode that really buffs up your account, so I'm going to take away the 1 out of 10 base rating, which means Limbus Company will receive a final score of 4.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, the lowest on the list.
Okay, so mode quality, he's given 0, enemy quality 1.5 edge free to play, so it's all in the free to play basically there. Fair assessment, chat? Is that a fair assessment, or is that a little bit harsh? You have to play Mirror Dungeon for like 20 minutes to 1 hour every week. It's not that bad until you remember we've been doing MD for 2 years. Okay.
Next up, we've got Genshin Impact. Somehow, not the lowest on the list, even though I expected it to be. Genshin Impact has 3 modes, the Spiral Abyss, Imaginarium Theater, and Stygian Onslaught. The Spiral Abyss being your box standard tower mode with a pretty solid foundation, but handled pretty badly, just like the rest of the game basically. Solid foundation, terrible handling. Imaginarium Theater is a more...
It is true that the game's got a solid foundation, right? I don't know if it's necessarily terrible handling for Genshin. I'm gonna be a defender here. I just think it could have been better, right? But for me, it's more about quality of life things with Genshin more than anything. Again, I haven't played Genshin for a while now, so I haven't even touched this Stygian Onslaught.
Advanced version of the Spiral Abyss, but not in a very good way. For example, you're restricted to only using a few elements and a few guest characters. Stygian Onslaught is definitely the best mode, by far in my opinion. It's similar to Honkai Star Rail's Apocalyptic Shadow, but it's much more of a whale mode at higher difficulties, which some players might not like. So, let's start with enemy quality. Outside of Stygian Onslaught, enemies in Genshin Impact are very bad. They have very boring AI that feels inconsistent between enemies. Even then, there are no true parry and dodge mechanics, so you can never even benefit from enemies attacking you like you can in other games like Zenless Zone Zero. Some boss enemies also have invincibility windows that don't stop the endgame timer when they're active, like Magu Kenki waking up and the Ruin Serpent going underground. All of this combines to also mean that Genshin Impact's enemies, recent HP inflation put aside, have a lot of HP in relative to how fun they are to fight. They really are just punching bags with a few elemental checks here and there, which makes the combat so goddamn boring to me. In the Spiral Abyss and Imaginarium Theater, enemies are also reused so frequently it makes doing these modes feel like such a chore.
Okay, to my Genshin peeps who are still playing now, do you agree with that in regards to the combat itself? Because, like, as I say, I haven't played Genshin for a while now, and I only got, like, just past Inazuma, so, like, I've dabbled with more of the endgame stuff, right? But I have not, like, I've not gone into it, because obviously I just didn't play the game all that much, really. But I had a lot of fun with Genshin, man, when I played it, you know what I mean? I really did. Like I say, I suppose I've got, with a lot of people who played, like, because I played Wuthering Waves hard, like, for, like, a year, right? And a lot of people in that community love to shit on Genshin. But, like, I never came out. I've never had this Hoyo hate for me, personally, right? Because I like Zenless Zone Zero. I loved Star Rail at one point. Now, don't get me wrong, I probably wouldn't have so much fun with Star Rail at the moment, because well, Star Rail is one of those games, if you take a break, it feels like a rough time to get back into anyway. But, yeah, man, like, you know, I had fun with it. I had fun with it, man. I did. Only did the beast when I used to play, and he wasn't that much of fun to me, so I don't know. Okay. Yeah, Genshin combat system is one of the best ever played, but hindered by enemy design. Okay. I remember the combat was easy, but only had the spoil before I quit. Still enjoy the horror games myself. Some people just take them too seriously. I heard someone talked about Imaginarium Theatre being a massive resource sink because of how many characters you need to build because of the rotating reactions. Not sure what most players think. Like for me, like when it came to Genshin, like I just started playing Star Rail. That's kind of what stopped me playing Genshin. It wasn't that I was like, I'm done with Genshin. I kind of like soft quit Genshin because I wasn't in this idea that I'm not going back to this game. I just started playing Star Rail hard. And then I just didn't go back. You know what I mean? And kind of the same thing happened with Star Rail with other games. But like with Star Rail, it was a little bit more of the writing was on the wall. I was starting to see things and I was like, I think this is going to be rough in a few months' time. You know? Yeah, I never left Genshin with any bad taste in my mouth personally.
Looking at the enemy lineups for these two modes in all of 5.x, they're chock full of almost 2-year-old enemies released in Fontaine, which isn't that bad, but also super old enemies released in Sumeru and even Inazuma. Now, these two modes have a lot of chambers, which means that they're gonna want a lot of enemies to fill them up, so they end up reusing older enemies, but that just ends up making it feel like more of a chore to do. In Stygian Onslaught though, the enemies have unique mechanics, and that's basically all I have to say about this criteria when it comes to this mode. So I'll give it a 1 out of 3, failing in 2 modes but doing pretty well in the third, or at least relatively well. When it comes to mode quality, then there's nothing really wrong with the Spiral Abyss like we said, other than the enemies it's filled with. Its mechanics are completely fine. With Imaginarium Theatre, that's where it starts going downhill, as the mechanics can get very restrictive or have requirements that some accounts may not have, and while yes it does incentivize building many characters, in a game like Genshin Impact, it ends up not being very enjoyable for many because of the elemental restrictions. Stygian Onslaught, on the other hand, is a pretty well designed mode, unique enemies, higher difficulties for the whales, and actually well designed challenges.
I feel like that when it comes to like the horizontal investment, I feel like with, obviously, again, if you're newer to the game, I suppose this is an individual thing, but I wouldn't even think it's like so much. Obviously, I ain't played it, right? But to me, I'm like, I feel like if you've been playing the game sort of semi-regularly since then, you're going to have quite a decent amount of horizontal investment. Whether you got the right horizontal investment, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
In combat. The only bad thing about this mode is that it's still just a race against time, just like the other two modes, unfortunately. But the timer's also very short. It'll receive a 1 out of 3 here as well. Finally, when it comes to F2P accessibility, then while it's starting to get worse, you can still clear the game with many older units, and more skilled players can clear with almost any unit, except maybe Xinyan or something. Although, I do think, and you'll probably agree with me, that Genshin's player base is very casual,
you can borrow characters.
So increasing HP like they've been doing recently is very scummy, and cucks their player base even more than they've been doing over the years. But this video isn't about that, so I'll give it a 2 out of 3 here. I think it will definitely end up getting worse, just like it did with the 2 other Hoyo games that begin with Honkai. So Genshin Impact will receive a final score of 5 out of 10. Speaking of Honkai, we've got Honkai Star Rail up next, with its 3 modes, Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow. There's a rumored or leaked 4th mode coming, but I'm obviously not counting it. So Memory of Chaos is your box standard tower mode, Pure Fiction is the AoE mode, and Apocalyptic Shadow is the boss mode. And they all rotate 1 by 1 every 2 weeks. Nothing else I have to explain about them. So let's get right into it. When it comes to enemy quality, well, outside of HP inflation, Honkai Star Rail has incredibly simple combat, and while it used to have incredibly simple enemy designs, in recent updates they've definitely added more fleshed out mechanics outside of the Apocalyptic Shadow.
That's
and
cool.
Even though a lot of those mechanics...
I think that's fair that it does have simple, because like, when it comes to like turn-based RPGs, like, you know, it is definitely more on the simple side of things, right? Simple doesn't mean bad though, right?
Certain characters way too damn much, it's still an improvement. But either way, Honkai Star Rail also reuses enemies so damn much, but I wouldn't say as much as Genshin, but that's mainly due to Genshin having 3 chambers for 2 halves in each stage, while HSR just has 2 halves for each stage. Pure Fiction also reuses enemies quite often, probably more than the MOC because there's more enemies on the field. However, both of these modes suffer from using many bosses way too many times, like Svarog and the bugs in the MOC, as well as Gepard in Pure Fiction, and they also suffer from another issue, which is that so many damn enemies are just reskins. Multi-billion-dollar company that's probably closer to multi-hundred-billion-dollar company here, and it's making enemy reskins. Genuinely pathetic. Enemies in the Apocalyptic Shadow are also
I do think that's a totally fair critique.
Used quite often, unfortunately, right? With Kokolia being the biggest offender, and when comparing it to Stygian Onslaught, I'm not sure.
It's like when you see stuff like that, then we go back to that conversation about the AI stuff. It's like, you know, it's like it makes you worry, right?
The latter will start reusing their bosses too. I mean, probably. However, I do think I will excuse the reuse of enemies here because I'm very biased towards Apocalyptic Shadow because it's a very fun mode that I used to enjoy a lot. And the only thing really bad about it is the very obvious HP inflation. Now, even though newer enemies have been getting more mechanics, those mechanics are not only heavily catered to newer characters, but they still tend to use older bosses like Svarog in the MOC that have no mechanics whatsoever and are instead just a punching bag. And no, him throwing his arm to grab you is not a mechanic, it's just annoying. I think I'm going to give Honkai Star Rail a 1.5 out of 3 here.
It's definitely mechanic, but it is fucking annoying. I used to hate that.
Reuses enemies a lot, and with older characters they can feel like punching bags like in Genshin, but the Apocalyptic Shadow is way too good to ignore here, and I would also say Honkai Star Rail's enemies are more fun to fight than Genshin Impact's enemies, but that is subjective and some people would say otherwise. But since this is my list, I'm going to give Honkai Star Rail an extra 0.5.
One's a turn-based game, one's not right, so...
When it comes to mode
it's subjective
quality,
anyway,
all
but you know.
three modes are effectively a race against time, however they do play quite differently. Regardless of HP inflation and power creep, the mechanics of each mode are very fun when put in a vacuum. It's just the race against time factor that is shared between them which holds it back. If Apocalypse...
Hey, I ain't even going to get into that. You guys know my opinion on all that sort of stuff. I hate it, right? I hate timers, having an unlimited amount of time. You know, the difficulty in the end becomes all of that. It's just a forced way of kind of push combat. I'm just not a big fan of it, right? I'm just not a big fan of it. Major reason why I've been absolutely loving Arknights is because how many fights have we had now where there's been a timer, right? There was the Witch King. What else, chat? What else have I hit in that game now that's had a timer? It's so refreshing. So refreshing.
Shadow was more like the holograms in Wuthering Waves, what focuses on the boss itself and its mechanics a lot more than the timer. It would have been a lot better, for example, but I don't see an issue with the MOC being a race against time because it's the standard endgame mode. So in the end, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 3 here. When it comes to F2P accessibility, this game will receive a whopping 0 out of 3 because, obviously.
We knew that was coming.
Honkai Star Rail's final score
Knew that was
will be
coming.
a 5 out of 10, just like Genshin Impact. Some people may reduce enemy quality even further or possibly penalize HSR for being so damn F2P unfriendly, but I think I'm satisfied with this rating. Next up, we've got Fate Grand Order. This is of course a story-based game, and it shows with its endgame content. However, I think it fares a lot better than Limbus Company, for example.
Again, another game, not played Limbus. I've not played Limbus, so I haven't played the endgame as well. I've played a little bit of FGO, but very little, and it was on mobile, and I've not dabbled in anything beyond the very start of the game, so I can't comment on this one as well. So I'm going to need chat to let me know what the deal is here.
It doesn't really have any rotating endgame though, which is kind of rough. Its two main sources of content are completing the hardest story fights every time a new story chapter is released. And
I have heard that even though the gacha system's a bit rough, I've heard that you can go through the entirety of this game. Now, I don't know so much about the end game, but the entirety of the story pretty much with base units, right? Is that true? Like, the gacha itself's a bit rough, but you don't really even need to engage in it to get through the content, which is, if that's true, you can, yes. FGO never force you to pull, though. Okay, yeah, so, all right then. Okay, yeah. I've heard that. Again, like I say, I've literally played like, man, it's probably like an hour, maybe, on my phone. So yeah, I don't know.
Is released with. Events have at least one challenge.
Might have to get a little creative, but you can do some wild stuff with FGO with low rarities. Okay.
When it comes to enemy quality, this game probably
gives you a lot
has
of
some of the
welfare.
most unique enemies out of any game on the list. It's a shame there's no rotating endgame content to make use out of all of them. Every playable character can potentially be an enemy, and they can use their playable skills on you in their enemy form. Of course, there are also non-playable character enemies, all with their own unique characteristics and mechanics that make them either weaker or stronger against certain characters. Other than that, there's not much else to say. I think that a 3 out of 3 here is a very good rating. When it comes to mode quality, though, well, since FGO has no rotating
and the one thing I will say about FGO, though, man, it looks like somebody projectile vomited the UI and the menus and just like the overall design of that sort of stuff onto the game. Like, it's vile. And I don't know why that hasn't been updated over the years. Like, you know, maybe they're just doing it for the nostalgia sake, but oh my god.
Game content, this is where it's gonna struggle. However, its challenge quests and major story fights are still very well made. Each challenge quest has an enemy with their default mechanics, but also extra gimmicks on top of that. I guess kind of like Apocalyptic Shadow and Honkai Star Rail, but a lot more complicated. The most recent challenge quest on the NA version of Fate Grand Order is the Summer 2025 Events Challenge Quest. The short of it is that you need to kill the boss with a name that I'm never going to pronounce, and an outfit that I should probably censor because this is Fate Grand Order. But anyway, she has insane defense buffs that you have to kill all the enemies on the site to remove. Each enemy has their own different buffs and debuffs that they can apply, and in the end, it kind of starts playing like a puzzle, which I think is really fun. However, I really can't get over the fact that all you do in this game is level up your characters and do the story quests and challenge quests. So, despite how fun these modes can be, a 0 out of 3 is the only rating I can give here.
Is that fair?
If you don't care about always having something to do, though, it's definitely a 3 out of 3 instead. When it comes to FTP accessibility, then there's two sides to Fate Grand Order. Now, you can beat the content in this game with basically any unit, but it's really tough to beat the game with the units you want to beat it with, because the gacha system is so ass, which I've already spoken about multiple times on this channel. Although, because you can still beat the game with skill and skill only, I'll give it a 2 out of 3 in the end. So, Fate Grand Order's final rating will be a 6 out of 10. Yes, somehow higher than Genshin and HSR, even though it has no rotating endgame content. It just goes to show how repetitive and unfair these two games
can
objectively be. The next game on the list is Epic 7, and just like a couple other games on the list, it has so many endgame modes, it's kind of a...
Again, another game I'm not going to be able to get into too much here, because I've literally probably played less of Epic 7 than I have of FGO, so
absurd. Of course, it is a PvP game, but still has many PvE elements, and while people may already cast it aside, I don't think that's very fair to this game. Its multiple PvE modes include the Abyss, Rift, and Trials of Constellations. The Abyss is a non-rotating tower mode with 120 floors and an extra 20 harder levels. The Rift is one of the game's most efficient ways to farm, and Trials of Constellations is also another way to farm, with small roguelike elements, but it's also a lot more rigid than Rifts. Now, since I don't have much experience with Epic 7, I'll only be focusing on these 3 modes. Epic 7 players can make their own judgments, and any rating changes by you guys in the comments would be very much appreciated. But
Epic 7 is one of those games that keeps every now and again, though, I'm just like, man, I really want to play him.
The Epic 7 Glazer. And bear in mind,
if they did a restart, stopped me getting into it last time, and then if they did a restart, become what it is. So I'm like, should I just play this?
Now, the Abyss doesn't rotate, however, each level is unique with its own set of mechanics and enemies. That may sound bad for F2P players, but hang on for the F2P accessibility section in a bit. Rift rotations come in seasons, with each season rotating around once every 6 months, and each season has its own boss. You do fight the same boss for the whole season, unfortunately, so as a mode widely considered as endgame by the player base, it does end up just being something that you have to press the fun button for. When it comes to Trials of Constellations, then while these reset monthly, every reset has the same 5 bosses. There are other...
Being a PvP game, I suppose you can have the... Obviously, if you're a PvE player, you're not going to think like that, but I suppose you can have the excuse of like, well, I suppose I can let it slide a little bit because the game's a PvP game, right? So
modes with more unique enemies and mechanics like Halls of Trials, though, so Epic 7 doesn't really fail here. I'll give it a 2 out of 3 when it comes to the enemy quality. If anything, the mechanics this game has definitely make up for any lack of unique enemies. When it comes to mode quality, then first off, there's always something to do in Epic 7, whether PvE or PvP, but a lot of those things that are always available to do focus a lot more on PvP. While the more important PvE
That's fair, though. It is a PvP game, right?
Or at least not as frequently as other games.
End of the day, if you are going to be a PvP game and you want that to be a heavy part of it, you need to lean into that, right? Which is going to mean that the PvE side of things is going to suffer, right? Now, if you're a PvE enjoyer, it's one of those games where it's maybe it's just not for you, right?
Now, how fun these modes are is the same story as earlier, since enemies are kind of repetitive in them. I mean,
playing Epic 7 felt like having a second-hand job at times.
Just to farm to do better in PvE
I think that's
content, but in this list, we're only rating PvE content. Since they're
the negative of a PvP game, right? It's the cross it has to bear, in a sense.
Since the PvP content this game has to offer is actually pretty damn good. Here, I'll give it a 1.5 out of 3. When it comes to F2P accessibility, then Epic 7 isn't really a saint, but it's not really a demon either. First off, since a lot of the game's PvE endgame content relies on farming, you can have a guess that so much of that is because of RNG gearing systems. You do need a lot of equipment and gacha characters in Epic 7, and if we consider the Abyss to be the benchmark of how good the endgame content is for F2P players, then it's definitely not the best. If somebody is able to clear the Abyss with only F2P units, it will require some RNG luck during the battles themselves. However, the game isn't predatory either, giving you a lot of currency and time to get the units that you do need to beat the content. You can actually farm in modes like hunts, where it can sometimes drop bookmarks or skystones, which is the pull currency in the game.
Although I was gonna say, I got no idea what the fuck that is.
2 out of 3 here. I think that's fair. So in the end, Epic 7
Gacha plus PvP is always a straight no for me because it's the biggest pressure to go gamble and waste money if you want to be competitive. I think that's fair, right? Like, it's like, you know, when Ethereum dropped, right? There was the hope that they were going to, like, potentially, because I can't remember now. Was it? I can't remember exactly how it worked now, but what we wanted, people really want, well, at least what I wanted. I wanted a separate, like, weekday system where it's like, dupes are out the way, right? So it allowed for just some free to play chill, and then on the weekends that's where the sweats go. And if you're free to play, you can just step back and just, you know, not be a part of that, like, or have like the way, I don't know, like have a season where like it's on and off, like 2 weeks on, a week off, 2 weeks on, kind of thing, something like, you know, where it just gave a little bit of freedom to be. Now I don't know if there's anything like that now, because again, I played the beta and I didn't play the game since launch, right? But yeah, I think it's inevitable that it's just a place for whales, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be, like you say, it's going to become a second job for you, isn't it?
7 will have a final score of 6.5 out of 10 for its PvE endgame content. The next game on the list will be Wuthering Waves, with Tower of Adversity, Whimpering Wastes, and the holograms as well. I think holograms are some of the best endgame content Wuthering Waves has to offer, with them simply being a skill check. The 5-minute timer will
Based. Again, I think they should have done so much more with holograms. I know we've got it the way the hologram is now. You've got the place where you get to and they add holograms to it. But I think we should have had so much more. I know that people were talking about the idea of having the, you know, the holograms that are based around the map, those resetting. People were like, oh yeah, but people will just want to one and done that. They don't want to go back. Well, I'm like, bro, that's the best combat in the game. If you got some rewards for that, it doesn't have to be pool currency, just some like mats for it, potentially echoes, whatever it might be, right? I would love that to reset. I would also like a harder mode on the holograms where you can potentially have, you know, you can tweak it so you can add debuffs, buffs, make the enemies more aggressive, make them play slightly differently, maybe have more HP if you want them, more defense, all these different things, potentially switch like attributes, so like you can use different units against them in different ways and just have fun with it, really. I was a little bit disappointed they didn't do that, because outside of the depths of Elusive Realm, holograms for me is what Wuthering Waves is about for me, in regards to they didn't work on it enough, right? They didn't flesh it out enough, in my opinion. But just in terms of that combat, it is a skill check. You can get one tapped. The timer, there's a timer, but it's kind of inconsequential. I'd rather it just not be there at all, right? And just make it even harder and more aggressive. And as I say, have that extra mode where you can really tweak things. But I think it was just another part of the game that had so much potential and just kind of just was never really advanced upon, which is a bit of a shame.
Never run out unless you're fighting something way above your level. So, the Tower of Adversity is your box standard tower mode, and Whimpering Waves is just Wuthering Waves' answer to HSR's Pure Fiction. So, a mode where you get hordes thrown at you and you have to defeat them in a certain amount of time to get a score. So,
yeah,
let's get right.
Just not a fan of either, honestly. I'm just not a fan of either. I just think Whimpering Waves, I know apparently, again, I haven't played for a while, it's improved. I just don't think it was a great mode, full stop, right? I just don't. You know, Tower of Adversity, it's dull as fuck, man. It's just dull. I just don't find it enjoyable at all. The one mode I did like was, what was it, the Trials Crisis mode or whatever it was, you know, where you could add the buffs and the debuffs and all that sort of stuff, kind of like a risk system. That was pretty cool. And again, Depths of Elusive Realm. Yeah, these two modes for me. Not it, Chief, not it.
Into the ratings. When it comes to enemy quality, unfortunately, Wuthering Waves also reuses enemies quite often. From all the stages I've looked through, it seems to be just as much as Honkai's Star Rail. Although, Wuthering Waves is just over a year old, so they don't have as many enemies as games like HSR and Genshin. However, I don't see why we need to be fighting a 1.0 boss in the TOA more than a year later. Now, my biggest complaint here is that the enemies in Wuthering Waves can be really fucking annoying. Now, to be completely honest, that is probably a skill issue, but I'm also playing ZZZ while having nearly zero complaints about the enemies, other than them having a few invincibility windows here and there, while in Wuthering Waves, so many enemies are genuinely super irritating to fight. Other than a few extremes like Lorelei being a little and if you don't kill her fast enough, she enters the most annoying phase a boss has ever had in any recent ARPG, and Thundering Mephis thinking he's Virgil, but really he's just a little
I don't mind Thundering Memphis at all. Actually, I found that shit fun, man. That was actually really fun for me. You know, it's not like a what's it boss, it's a mat boss, but you know, Jue, fucking hated that fight. I remember people telling me it's a skill issue, man. You just need to grapple to close the distance. Like, bro, fuck off. I don't want to fight a fight where every 2 seconds, yeah, exaggeration, bro's fucking off and flying around like he's the spaghetti monster. Like, no, that's not fun, man. Stop creating monsters that beeline away from you. I don't want to fight fights like that. I don't want to do it. I want the enemy to come at me. I don't want him to be like, catch me if you can. That's not fun at all, man. I don't get what anybody says.
I hope your
For
whole
me,
family has a nice Christmas.
Wuthering Waves really likes to punish the player, and again, you can call that a skill issue as much as you want, but to me it ends up being way more annoying than it is fun. Obviously, Wuthering Waves won't get a 3 out of 3 here because it reuses enemies, so...
I think it becomes unfun because of timers, right? That content is fine without the timer, but again, when it comes like to Whimpering, when it comes like especially the tower and that, like it's not difficult content. That's not. You're just fighting a timer. That's the end game. That's the difficulty. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why I do like depths, and that's why I do really like well, that Trials Crisis mode. I forgot what it was called now because that didn't have a timer. But like the timer really doesn't really matter in the holograms, right? That again, timers suck, man. I don't mind them here and there. Too many gacha games use them like candy, man. This is like they're everywhere.
Frequently, and because I think fighting the enemies can be genuinely quite frustrating, I think I'll give it a 1.5 out of 3. However, that is very subjective, and if you don't think Wuwa's enemy design is annoying, I think a 2 or a 2.25 out of 3 here is perfect. I also gave HSR a score of 1.5 out of 3, and a lot of people might get really mad about that, and understandably so. However, they have the same score, but for different reasons. Again, if you don't think Wuthering Waves' enemies are annoying, I think they deserve a 2 to 2.25 out of 3.
That's the thing, this gets a little bit subjective when you're talking about it. You can look at, I suppose, mechanics of the enemies, but when you're looking at it, is this fun? That is a subjective thing, right?
As a tower mode is completely fine. It's a little more unique with its cost system than the MOC and Spiral Abyss, but Whimpering Wastes is pretty boring, I won't lie to you. But I also think that the holograms are some of the best modern endgame content available, being a pure skill check rather than anything. Even if some enemies are annoying, but we're talking about mode quality here, not the enemies themselves. Honestly,
hey, Fish Raid, what's going on, guys? What's going on, Ace? What's going on, Frog Pappy? Welcome to the stream, guys.
I think a rating of 3 out of 3 here would have been a very heavy understatement.
Ace, thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate you. How's it going? How's it going?
I also gave HSR a 2.5 out
Shout out to our Twitch raiders.
That sounds insane, but I think that Pure Fiction, despite still being relatively boring, is still much more fun than Whimpering Wastes. Either way, I think Wuthering Waves has a lot of...
Welcome to the stream. We're just watching a list from worst to best of the ranking of endgame content in gacha games from Moose on Caffeine at the moment. We're doing a bit of react slop at the moment because I'm having the post JT8-3 clarity of beating the stage E1. Got to get it in there. Got to get it in there, chat. I've got to get it in there.
Potential with whatever upcoming mode they may be cooking. When it comes to FTP friendliness, then there was a character shilling drama with Whimpering Wastes a couple weeks ago, but honestly I think it's just a fluke. I'm gonna give Wuthering Waves the benefit of the doubt here because other than that, you can clear with all units in the game, and the echo investment needed to do so is miles below any relic or artifact investment needed in HSR or Genshin, on both older and newer characters. I would say that Wuthering Waves is like 70% skill and 30% echo and Gacha luck, and for reference, Genshin Impact is 80%.
I do think that's slowly changing though. Again, I haven't played since 2.2, so I'm going off, obviously, I've played the game for a long time, right? I know the game, and I'm going off like people who play the game and watching videos of people that the potential for that to be like going on down the wrong direction definitely looks like that is real, right? But I think that's fair, right? You know, really with Wuthering Waves for the most part, man, hyper invest into your DPS, man, and you know, you don't really have to build all your units out to the max. You know, some good echoes, build out your tree pretty decently, you know, and you are really good to go when it comes to the tower. That being said, don't make the tower any better though. It's boring.
Luck and 20% skill, and HSR is like 100% luck.
Hi, no worries, Aisha. Have a good day.
Said,
Thank you very much for the raid as well.
3 out of 3 here. So Wuthering Waves' final score will be an 8 out of 10. Next up, we've got Zenless Zone Zero, the fourth and final mainstream gacha game, or at least what I would consider to be a mainstream gacha game. It's definitely the Hoyo game with the best endgame content, at least. It's got 2 rotating endgame modes, Sheer Defense and Deadly Assault. Sheer Defense is the block standard tower mode, and Deadly Assault is everything Stygian Onslaught and Apocalyptic Shadow should have been, and what a rotating holograms mode should look like. There's also the simulated battle trials, which are some of the best modern endgame content available. Alrighty, ZZZ is getting glazed, so let's get right into the ratings. When it comes to enemy quality,
I mean, for a little bit of ZZZ glazing, because he gets too much hate, man. I don't get the ZZZ hate. I really don't. Like, there's so many people, and this is not just like, you know, your typical Hoyo haters. Like, ZZZ just seems to get so much hate, and I don't get it personally, because I like the game, and I think the endgame content's pretty fun as well.
Then ZZZ is going to get some pretty good credit here. First of all, unfortunately, they also do reuse enemies quite a lot. Probably a little less than HSR and WUA, but also I wouldn't be surprised if it was just...
We'll read the comments in a bit.
The same, but definitely not as much as Genshin.
ZZZ above
just
WUA?
like Wuthering Waves, it's only a little over a year old, so it will by default get a better score than both Genshin and Honkai Star Rail when it comes to this. Other than that, when it comes to how fun the enemies are to fight, then they are incredibly fun. I am absolutely in love with Zenless Zone Zero's combat.
Thank you as well. People shit on its combat so much, right? You know, it's not as nuanced as it could be. I think it's satisfying, man. It's punchy, it's fast-paced, it feels visceral. I enjoy it, man. It's you know, I find it a lot of fun, man. I do.
The enemies are part of the reason why. They attack at just the right frequency and difficulty that they need to. The enemies also have a very good HP to mechanics ratio, again, because you benefit from all the parrying that you do. The only bad thing about Zenless Zone Zero's enemies, off the top of my head, is that some of them, like Miasmic Jane, or some second phase bosses like the Dead and Butcher, have invincibility windows, but other than that, I think ZZZ currently has the best enemy design in any mainstream ARPG, or mainstream gacha in general. I'll give Zenless Zone Zero a 2.25 out of 3 here. When it comes to enemy quality, they do reuse enemies a bunch, but probably not as much as the other mainstream games, and the enemies are super
ZZZ hate is just a leftover hate from Genshin HSR. I think it is, and do you know what? Honestly, I think a portion of the WUA community turned to focus towards, and I'm not just talking about CCZ, I'm talking about the community as well. It seemed like they turned the ire towards ZZZ after ZZZ's first anniversary, because a lot of people shit on Wuthering Waves' first anniversary, and it felt like a bit of reaction to that, because that wasn't able to be so defended like other parts of the game potentially are. That it felt like they went, because like I hear that a lot where people I've and this is not just from people like Saint, right? I've heard it from other people as well in the community saying that Zenless had one of the worst first year anniversaries in Gacha, and I'm like, what are we smoking here? Like, what? That's crazy. I just do not agree, man. You're talking shit. I'm sorry, you are, right? And I feel like there's definitely was a little bit, it was like the Oya Sauro, man. It was cast as ZZZ right after that. Because I think maybe there was some people who was like, and not even ZZZ players as well, where people was like, Zenless is going to be the one that saves us. It's going to be the gacha game that has a good first year anniversary, right? And I think it did a pretty okay job, right? Wasn't anything insane, but I think they did a pretty good job of it. And I do feel like a bunch of people, like it became like the punching bag. It was like, oh, right, that's a small kid. Let's go pick on them. We're gonna steal its lunch money. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's kind of how it felt. Stop saying Saint like he's some cute little boy. I don't realize to do that.
Waves, it does only have 2 rotating modes, unfortunately. Sheer Defense being the standard kill them as fast as possible mode, which is fine because it was also the first mode, but Deadly Assault also brings a different formula because you actually get performance points in it that aren't simply based on doing as much damage as possible, meaning that somebody who can't exactly do enough damage to fully get the score required to 3-star can supplement that with taking advantage of the other ways you can get points in this mode. And you don't even need to fully clear all 3 bosses to get all the Polycorn rewards. If you only have 2 fully built teams or one of the bosses has a resistance you can't fight
DVM, what's going on?
You don't have to fully clear them. Sheer Defense and Deadly Assault also rotate weekly with each other instead of bi-weekly like all the other games.
Don't like ZZZ because I don't enjoy doing like no damage as in throwing a sponge against the wall for 10 minutes. That's fair. Hey, end of the day, it's all subjective, right? It's all subjective. I personally, I've got a real soft spot for Zenless. from characters to enjoying the story. I do think post 1.4, it's not been as strong as it was prior. Again, I haven't played Xenoblade now since 2.0. I've got to get back. I've been spotty on a lot of games recently. Character design, for me, Belle, one of my favorite MCs in Gacha gaming. I think she's fucking brilliant. She's adorable. She's well voiced. She's just a cool character. I love the setting. I've got, and I do enjoy the combat as well, and some of the modes in the game. I like their experimentation they do in the game, also in regards to little things, events and stuff that they've done over the time. You know, the Fall Guys thing was brilliant. You know, I've got a lot of warm feeling towards Endless Zone Zero. I really have.
ZZZ has
it's all subjective, right? So, you know.
Rotating mode. I really hope they don't mess it up. Finally,
this video made you download Battle Cats,
which, like I said, I also think is some of the best endgame content in modern gacha gaming. Again, it's basically just being a skill check. I'm pretty sure Billy Main was able to solo floor 1000, which is really crazy.
Holy cow.
I think it's really good. I have no reason to give ZZZ anything but a 3
That's true. That's kind of crazy.
Finally, when it comes to F2P accessibility, well, you can beat the game with basically anyone you want. You can see
that's fair. That's fair,
different characters, even main DPS bed bigger, which I think is great. Although you shouldn't ignore the HP inflation. Now, I actually think that this amount of HP inflation that is currently in ZZZ is pretty healthy due to the players getting a lot stronger from getting better disk drives, more access to support units, etc, etc. But F2P...
It does seem like as well the HP inflation does tend to like... now, I know it has been steadily going up, but it does seem to ebb and flow a little bit depending on the mechanics in the particular bosses as well, doesn't it? As well, so... you know, it is a thing that's there, but like, again, this is a game that launched where people were like kind of craving that anyway, right? Because a lot of people initially were like, yeah, it's a little bit too easy, right? We need a little bit of this.
Accessibility is very objective, just like I said in the rules, and so just because players can clear with every unit doesn't mean that I'll give it a 3 out of 3 here. The biggest reason for that is disk drive investment requirements are very high if you're using older units to clear. Going back to earlier, I would say that ZZZ is 50% skill-based and 50% disc drive or gacha luck-based, so I'll just give it a 2 out of 3 here. You just need to grind discs for a while if you want to use older characters.
I think that's pretty fair.
I hate all RNG gearing systems. HP inflation might get worse in the future. After all, it is a Hoyo game.
I think that's pretty fair, because like the disc drives can be a pain in the arse, but for me, they're not as bad as like Echoes, just in the way that you get them personally. I think that's pretty fair, if I'm honest.
But let's stick to the present in this video. So, Xenoblade Zone Zero's final score will be 8.25.
Damn, that's a high score,
Coming
really.
Up next, we've got my favorite gacha game of all time, the Battle Cats, with some of the best strategy gameplay in the gacha space.
Bro, he's single-handedly holding up Battle Cats, right? Is this game any good? Like, I feel like this dude's gaslit me into playing this game, because this is the second time I've seen it in one of his videos, and like, I feel like I have to play it now, right? It's the rules, I have to play it.
Cats also has some pretty good endgame content. The rotating modes are the tower-like modes, being Heavenly Tower, Infernal Tower, Golden Tower, Legend Quest, Citadel, and Gauntlet. However, all of these modes are kind of weird because they don't really have a set schedule, and if you want to play them, you're kind of just forced to sit there to wait for them. Some players also don't consider them endgame content exactly, but I think they definitely fit the definition, as they are still incredibly hard, they test your account, and they give you a lot of rewards. As for other endgame content, which I guess you could consider late endgame content, there's the Uncanny Legends and Zero...
It's like one of those games that looks like an acid trip, you know? It's good, not gonna lie, the Civil War story that time felt flat. This is a phone game, I heard good things about it. Battle Cats is tower defense speaks, therefore it's like Arknights for real.
Legend stages, as
the
well
game
as
is
the
cat tier
stages, which all don't rotate, and there's also the Behemoth Calling stages, which do rotate. I won't go into detail into all of these because there are a lot, but I will provide
quite like the art style.
Hopefully. Even as someone who calls Battle Cats my favorite gacha game, though I haven't played all of these, I'm not gonna lie, this game is really f***ing hard. So, to start off with enemy quality, automatically Battle Cats is going to receive a 3 out of 3. It has some of the best systems in place, and as simple as the game is, they've capitalized upon everything they could. From buffs and debuffs enemies and characters could apply, to ranges, attack frequencies, and everything in between. Strategizing in this game is more than just selecting an anti-red enemy lineup when the enemies are red, it's about choosing exactly when to release your most powerful unit to kill the enemy. And the enemies are designed exactly to take advantage of that, and each of these endgame stages that we've mentioned have a huge pool of unique enemies.
So wait, it's 5 minutes. See, is this number 1?
And even when enemies are reused, fodder enemies stay fodder, and bosses are lumped together to take advantage of each other.
I saw CC at the start, so I was thinking Arknights was going to be in the list somewhere.
One that all ends up mixing incredibly well. I could sit here and glaze it some more, but that's enough, I think. Let's skip mode quality for now and talk about F2P accessibility, where Battle Cats will also receive a 3 out of 3. Not only are there tons of free units you're always able to collect, but you can beat the game with basically anybody you want.
I feel like Arknights potentially is in this list, right?
Beating Heavenly Tower without
because we've got 5 minutes left. We can squeeze another game or two in here, right?
AKA super rare cats and battle cats.
Surely Arknights is in this, right? I'm hoping.
Definitely require a few Uber units. However, there are gacha events where Uber units are guaranteed, and if you don't have at least, let's say, 30 Uber units by the time you reach 0 legends, you're probably doing something wrong. As for mode quality, well, the modes are really complicated in the Battle Cats. The Heavenly Towers and its variants, which are the ones up on screen right now, are basically
I think I need to play this.
Players really don't know when one might show up.
I don't think I need to play this. Can confirm the new TOA sucks as bad as the original, really? Yeah, I've heard that there's a little bit of inflation this one.
That doesn't mean you're going to run out of content in Battle Cats. That's probably impossible and will never happen. However, it's still pretty boring to keep waiting for a tower to arrive, so you can try and beat it with whatever new units or upgrades you got. But whichever mode you do play, they are all super fun, and some of them having completely unique enemies to each other, like the Behemoth Culling stages focusing on Behemoths, and the Malevolent stages focusing on Aqua enemies, and the Infernal Tower focusing on Relic enemies. So I'll give Battle Cats a 2 out of 3 here. Battle Cats' final score will be a 9 out of 10.
Damn, bro.
Next
bro really likes Battle Cats. Hey,
contracts.
Boys, it's in the list. It's in the list. I'd say they had to be in the fucking list, man. Jesus Christ.
Trails of Navigator, integrated strategies, as well as vector breakthrough and reclamation algorithm. That is certainly a lot. The main ones are contingency contracts and integrated strategies. Those are the ones I'm going to focus on, but definitely don't look past the others because they still provide some great gameplay.
Okay, because that's all I've played, so...
contracts to be the tower mode, but it's not exactly an accurate description of it, as it plays slightly differently and also has things way more unique than any other game on the list's tower modes. Integrated Strategies is a roguelike mode, however, it's not like Divergent Universe or Limbus's Mirror Dungeons, as Integrated Strategies doesn't really buff up your units anywhere near as much as those two modes do, and it's definitely nowhere near as repetitive. Now, let's get on to the ratings.
It's actually kind of fire. It's actually kind of fire. Obviously, I think the core design of the game allows for the game to have just an insanely well-made roguelike mode in there. But they actually, like, went in right. Again, it wasn't just that, how do we make the character more powerful for each run? You know, there is, like, a good amount of variety. And this is obviously coming from somebody who's only dabbled as well, but already loving it. Loving it.
When it comes to enemy quality, then Arknights will fare quite well here.
Reason why so many games have tried to do their own version of IS, right? You know, there's a reason that so many games have tried to do their own version of IS.
I guess you can consider enemies in Arknights to be used similarly.
Yeah, I've done some
to
integrated strategies, yeah.
Battle Cats, while Malevolent stages in Battle Cats use Aku enemies and Behemoth Culling stages focus on Behemoth bosses, every CC iteration in Arknights focuses on different mechanics and enemy lineups, with each CC iteration focusing on enemies that release during a relevant story quest or event story. The lineups for Contingency Contract 9, for example, focus on these 4 elites, which are also the same used in the event story Undertides. In Integrated Strategies, enemies are also very numerous, using some enemies from basically every other mode while also having its own enemies. Finally, the way mechanics are designed in Arknights is very fun, again kinda similar in a way to Battle Cats, but not exactly. With how many characters there are in the game, there will be certain niches and characters that are good against a certain group of enemies. While Arknights is simply a tower defense game, they did exactly what Battle Cats did and took a very simple...
Hey! Listen now, let's not get carried away. Simply a tower defense game, buddy. Come on, relax with that. Chill out now, brother man. Let's, you know, let's not take the piss. Let's not take the piss.
Formula and took maximum advantage.
Super is typing in Italian right now.
Of it, so I'll give them a 3 out of 3 here. No reason for otherwise. When it comes to mode quality, then honestly Arknights is probably more complicated than most games. Yep. Contingency contracts have seasons, which rotate multiple times a year.
Again, glazy moment, I don't give a fuck, because I've just gone through Chapter 8, right? I've just had one of the most awesome boss fights in gaming, honestly. I know, world statement, I don't care. Please, if you haven't tried Arknights, just try it, man. Give it a moment, right? Don't, like, you know, try and go straight into the meta. I'm not saying you can't do that, because that can be fun in games as well. Just really try and experience what the game's got to offer. I'm not saying do E1 runs. I'm not saying play niche nights. I'm not saying, like, freaking do E0s or freaking 4 stars only or whatever, right? But, like, oh, man, just do it. Just do it. Trust me. Like, hey, it might not be for you, and that's fine. But oh my god, it's such a gem, man. You really, really, really need to check it out, guys. Honestly, I as somebody who does not like tower defense games, right, and it kind of feels bad to call Arknights just a tower defense game because it feels so much more, and it is so much more. But like, obviously, that's what it's considered, and I don't like them. This is my favorite game at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, that's saying a lot. I think in so many ways it craps on so many games in this space. And I'm not even saying that in a negative thing of taking away from those games. It's just that this does so many things so well.
Heavenly Tower,
alright, glazing over, glazing over.
Which happen at a random, except Heavenly Tower is very limited.
I think that is a total fair thing to not like. Full sweep sucks. No full sweep sucks, right? Two things about Arknights, big negatives. Locking stages behind specific days to farm. Just don't do that. It doesn't serve any purpose other than to extend the time that it takes me to build stuff. It's don't need to do that. This game definitely doesn't need it anyway, because there's so much content. It just doesn't need that. And yeah, sweeps, right? Even if the fact that we're going to a one clear sweep, just make it a sweep. Like, just give me a sweep. I don't need to even have the clear. Especially don't need to do 5 or 6 clears, right? Like, I've seen people, like I said, somebody said that to me before. They were like, I'll just go and do something else while I'm doing that. I think it's fine. Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to log in the game to do something else? Those two things could go out the game right now. Happy days, you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, contingency contract seasons are much more available.
Favorite game is punching myself in the face and excessive eating. Hey, the latter's not too bad though.
Maps modeled after them. The current season is always available to play once you unlock it. TC
you do it the other way round, you know what I mean?
Rotating test sites, which are exactly what they sound like. You can also add many different extra challenge stacks to each stage you try for extra rewards. As for integrated strategies, then
you can try and make yourself feel better.
Integrated strategies is a roguelike, but it isn't.
You've hurt yourself for eating too much.
Hollow Zero, like we said, where you buff to oblivion. Instead, it's more of a traditional roguelike mode where the content is still incredibly difficult. It still feels like a proper endgame content where you need to get around the mechanics with the
sweep function is coming only almost 6 years later, right? It's not going to be a proper sweep though, is it? Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure, right? It's you go on it once, it clears auto, and then it just sweeps that. So like you do 6 clears, it's one auto, 5 sweeps. Yeah, that's right. That's how it works, right? Because just go a step further, man. Just make it like I love it when a game. I'll try a gacha game, right? And I've cleared the material stage once, and then I'll just click it, and boom, it's done. It's just like, oh yes. This is a good thing. This is a good quality of life. Because to me, all I think is when a game forces you to do material farming over and over again like that, it's just a way to extend playtime, right? It's like the reverse 1999. Yeah. It's definitely a better system, right? But give me a full-on sweep all day long, right? There's just no need for it, right? But yeah, it's gonna be the same as reverse, and yeah, I thought as much.
Characters you unlock, and you can't really brute force it with whatever buffs you get along the way. Now, these two modes don't rotate that quickly, but remember that they're not the only two available, they're just the ones we're focusing on for simplicity's sake. And there's also always something to do inside of them either way. So I don't see a reason to give Arknights anything below a 3 out of 3.
The rock mining will move much faster, let's go.
Mode quality. And you probably saw this coming, but it's a 3 out of 3 when it comes to F2P accessibility too.
Yeah, true. F2P accessibility is insane. Are they going to be ever getting rid of the material daily locks as well? Sorry to pause it again. Are they ever going to be getting rid of that? Like, because that's another thing that I just think is a bad system, right? You know, I really like the game, but I think it's fair. We have to point out the negatives. That's just a bad system as well. I'd love that to change.
Because it's Arknights. Of course it is. Not only is the gacha system super rewarding, but players have proven countless times that you can beat the game if you understand the mechanics well enough with just 4-star units. Arknights also doesn't have any RNG gearing systems like artifacts or echoes, so basically all progress is guaranteed. Arknights' final score is a 10 out of 10 because
damn!
The only reason one wouldn't enjoy Arknights' endgame content is because it's a tower defense game, but that ends up just being subjective. In the end, the Arknights...
I think that's right. I think really when it comes to Arknights endgame, really, and like, events are slightly different because sometimes the events are a little bit quirky, right? it's just whether you like the game or not. You like the gameplay loop itself, which is, of course, obviously, I joke around and I glaze, right? And I'm like, just play the game. Trust me, please play the game. But like, obviously, it's just not for everybody, right? And I'm with you. When I first saw Arknights from outside looking in, I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to play this game. Man, I'm so glad I did, right? I'm so glad I did because it's been an eye-opener. Because I think if you like the core component of this game, pretty much everything the game's got to offer is gonna satisfy. You know, some, like say, some events here and there, mechanics are not as fun as others, and you know, it might not be such an enjoyable event. But I think I agree on the end game, at least when it comes to IS and CC.
Plays never stops. That's all I have for you today. Damn, this was a super long video. I wanted to include more games like Punishing Grey Raven, Reverse 1999, but it just got way too long to keep going, I'm sorry. Maybe next time I make one of these lists, it'll include these two games as well, so thank you so much for watching and making it this far. I appreciate you so much. Make sure to
man, if we upload this as a video, this is going to be a big one, boys. It's going to be a big one.
Close to hitting 3,000 members. Thank you.
Yeah, for the games that I've played, I think, you know, I think on like the Genshin side, when he was talking about the combat, I think that's a subjective feeling, right? I definitely do, because like at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, enjoyment of games is totally subjective. But like, you know, this is attempting to be as objective as possible. I think most things were pretty fair, right? I don't think there was anything egregious in this video. I really like holograms. It's hard to really consider them. I guess you can now because the way the hologram system works post Renacita, right? In that, like, I guess you can class it as as endgame content now. It wasn't really before that. I would love more to be done with holograms because I think it has so much potential to like not just the base form of the hologram fights, but to be expanded upon, right, with like buffs and debuffs and tweaks to the way enemies work and all this sort of stuff, and tweaks to characters. Just like having Patriot fantasies as well in some of them as well could be really fun. Diversity blows ass. Whimpering Waste blows ass. Depths of Elusive Realm was goated, but you know, Kuros seemed to fucking hate that mode. That Trials Crisis mode, whatever it was called as well, was goated as well, but you know, so yeah, I think when it comes to Wuthering Waves Endgame, the potential there for it to be insanely good is there. To just kind of ignore all the really good stuff that could be used for Endgame and just lent into the trash. You know what I mean? Which is wild to me. But yeah, obviously I ain't played Limbus. I ain't played FGO enough. I've never played Battle Cats. So all of those are kind of like, I can't comment on. But I think most people in the chat who have played those games said, you know, it's a pretty fair video. So yeah, I'm not against that. Somebody who's a hyperglazer, I think the number one out of these games, at least anyway, right? Again, FGO and Limbus, haven't played them. I think it's deserved to take the top spot. Now, of course, there's probably plenty of gacha games out there where somebody come along and go, actually, bro, this is way better. But yeah, great video. Guys, go check out Moose on Caffeine. I think he makes good videos, man. Reclamation algorithm. I don't have to finish watching the video now to know Arknights is a 10 out of 10. The fun thing with Arknights roguelike, it can't be found in other roguelike games. They're both gimmicky, challenging it gets, and how much you can exploit the relics into one of the hilariously powerful team, and you won't find that outside of the modes. Okay, all right. Got some glazing in the comments as well. Nice. All right, I'm here for it. All right, fair. Good video. I enjoyed that. Oh, I saw Skybird had put up a video as well, actually. Technically E2 with the Yamaha. Yo, guys, as well, we've had nearly 200 viewers in chat throughout the entirety of that react there as well. And we are still sitting at 35 likes. Guys, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream. It's very much appreciated. So smash the like button, man. It means a lot. See if we can get to 100 likes on the stream. That'd be awesome. All right, so we check this one out then. The Arknights official trailer for Dissociative Recombination. And obviously from the Arknights official YoStar channel. Preemptive like. Let's check it out. Is this a good one, guys? Have you guys seen this? I'm assuming you guys have seen this, yeah.
Monster and I will protect everyone. Especially you, Doc.
We're gonna have to fund Enfield again. We're gonna have to fund Enfield again, guys. It's gonna happen. The spoilers. What in this? Spoilers doxing. Do not read the comments on this. The trailer's okay though, yeah? I can watch the trailer though, right? You're scaring me, chat now. Hey, oh, we have end up on the trailer. Let's go. Let's go. Trailer's okay. Oh, okay. Best money.
You're the doctor of Rhodes Island? I've heard so much about you.
I'll take the wheel, you take a breather.
I like a VA. I feel like there's potentially loads of Easter eggs in this video.
She ended our cycle of reincarnation, granting me freedom and eternal life. And loneliness.
I love her design, man. And she looks, a chibi model looks so good as well. So good as well. Damn, boys. Looks like it should be on the front of a manga or a manhwa, that does. You know? Okay. All right. Okay. Sold. Well, that neuron activation moment, that was like, yo, monkey woke up there. Yeah, man. I'm getting that. I'm definitely getting that. Okay. I'm here for you. Oh, I love this skin, I do. Love this artwork. It looks so good. Yes. Okay. All right. Man. Yeah, we're going to be pulling tomorrow, chat. We're going to be pulling. Definitely going to be pulling tomorrow. Because obviously she drops in a couple of hours right after I finish streaming. Man, it's 10 to 4, chat, bro. It's 10 to 4. This is turning into a sloppy stream, right? A sloppy stream. All right, shall we check these out then, guys? So we've got a JT8-3 1P relay, no hit damage clear here. And then we've got a simple JT8-3 secret low star clear with E1 whispering power of pause. Right, so if you don't know me, you know I've been trying to do E1, right? And we don't watch guides, we don't do supports, and we don't E2, apart from where we had to E2 and me, but we don't talk about that. But we don't do guides. But what we like to do when we hit a hard stage, right? A hard one, pause. We like to kind of, well, I like to anyway, and chat shares me some videos because chat suggested it initially. We kind of go and like watch clears then, because I like to, because one thing I love about this game is the difference in how you can play it, right? And going back and seeing these, it's like, oh, damn, man. This is totally different to how Ark came about doing it, right? And I think it just it's another example. It shows me like how cool I think the game is, because not very often can you do that in a gacha game, because most of the time, you know, not all of the time, but a lot of the time, it's usually you're just seeing somebody maybe using a different uni, or maybe just doing something a little bit better than what you did, but pretty much doing the same thing, right? Where with this game, and it's not the only game, but with this game, it can look totally different. It can look like a totally different clear, right? So let's check out this one first, and this JT8-3 1P relay, no hit damage, yeah? And let's see what this is from. So this is from Astral Stew. They've only got 436 subs, and they put this up 4 years ago. Okay, all right. Let's get into it. Isn't there a 3-star clear of this stage? I don't know. Okay, farming her off the bat. Oh, legit, we're just like pulling units out before they can get... Wow, okay. Before they can get hit. Man, the amount of timing, like the practice to get the timing down on this it's kind of insane, actually. Chat, we got humbled again, right? Again, chat, wink, wink, again. Why gravel for no hit? Well, the only thing I could think of is potentially like waiting for the like a potential bait maybe and pulling before the animation can be what's it? I don't know. I don't know. I am a plebeian though, so that was impressive. That was actually really cool. That was fucking cool, that was. Holy shit. That was so cool. Man, I was so proud of my clear. This is what these do though sometimes. It's like, it's cool to watch what people can do. And then it makes me think, man, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I know my silly little E1 run isn't anything spectacular, especially now, like with some of the newer units, right? But I was proud of my little E1 clear. Holy shit, dude. Knowing your units as well and trusting them, right? Damn. Shooketh. I am shooketh. That's impressive, that is. Holy shit. We got to dodge before Enfields. Bro, he's flabbergasted. Okay, what's up, dude? That's wild. Man, impressive, that is. Okay, then. Okay, all right. I was gonna say, I was thinking what we're gonna do about the fire. All right, I'll let that off. I'll let that off. Again, obviously, you guys have probably seen, well, I know you've seen way more than me because obviously we don't do guide stuff, right? The small little impressive clears that I've seen from, like, you know, we did some for Patriot, didn't we? Who else did we do for now? I think we did R88, right? I think we do JT8-3? I don't know if we did JT8-3. And this might be one of the most impressive I've seen. This might be one of the most impressive I've seen. Honestly. She didn't take damage from the meter though, so it still counts. True, true. Animation's so cool. Aye. It's, oh man, like, you know, so much planning gone into this, right? Like, this is skill expression as well, right? Obviously, this is skill expression. But, like, the planning, meticulous, like, timing, the right units. Here's me, man. I was struggling to just hold down everything. Right? Bro was out here multitasking with one unit in that first wave. Is she not taking damage because of an invis skill? Is that what's going on there? Is that an invis skill that's protecting? It is, yeah, okay. Ah, he's clutch. That's clutch, so that is. Bro's rotating through units like he's playing fucking Wuthering Waves quick swap gameplay, dudes. That is actually crazy. Like, we've seen some impressive clears, right, after some stages so far. But, like, that was fucking ridiculous, dude. Honestly. Like, what the fuck? I've never seen quick swap Arknights gameplay. Jeez. How is this person only got 436? Is this like a re-upload of somebody else? Or like, what? Or is this just some cracked, like, insane dude that just dropped a couple of videos and was like, peace? Watch Danjin Hitler's like, see this, like, the fuck, right? No, it's just the most insane clears just don't get attention. Damn. I've got 12k views, which isn't, like, terrible. That is, like, honestly, obviously, I like Arknights. That, to me, it's like, that deserves hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, man. How did, like, that 12k views not translate into more subs? Like, see, the thing is, for me, I don't know if I can subscribe to channels like this, because in case I see stuff that I haven't done yet, right? Like, pop up in my feed and accidentally click on something. Like, bro. That is wild. All right. Let's watch this one then. Simple JT8-3 secret low star clear with E1 whispering power of pause. Okay. So we got a couple of E2s here. We got Amiya, we got Perfumer E2. Everybody else is E1, right? Okay. All right. The power of pause. I'm expecting a little bit less impressive here. Still, that was insane, man. Like, I still can't get over that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that was just a wow moment. A wow moment. 720p. I thought it looked a bit blurry. Using E2 Amiya. Pathetic. E2. Pfft. Who needs that? Man, I'm still... I got mind fucked by that last clear. Legit. Okay. Hey, same metal placement. Let's go. Based. Let's see. To unlock the secret scene, God damn, must be in your squad. Okay, yeah. I don't think... Oh, so she doesn't have to be deployed. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Who could we have sacrificed to do that? Maybe Lappy? Yeah, I don't know. That Lappy was... Even though she didn't do much, she did at the same time. Okay, this is not totally alien to like what I did. Like, you know, I see like what's obviously I went for the early DP printing in an effort to try and get, you know, obviously it was all around getting all PP out, wasn't it really? This is quite similar to, like, in terms of, like, area of placement, this is quite similar to where I was doing things at first, right, when I was trying to trap her here. Like, we had this, like, big crossover thing going on over here. Okay, so dude's just persevering with a burn here, right? Which is what I was attempting to do at first, actually. The flames still on you, you know. That sound there is haunting to me. And then, you know, the sound of the whoop before the flames come. They're the two audio cues that haunt me on this stage. Okay, so we're going with like the thick defense line here, right? Again, this isn't alien to me. You know? The attempt to overwhelm his sheer firepower to a degree. Hey, what's up, Glitter? Welcome to the stream. Split box out. What the fuck's that mean? Oh, what? So she's like half on one tile and half on another? Is that... Oh, okay, so that's split boxing. Said like I'm about to jump in a car with a bunch of lads, man. We're gonna wind the windows up and all like just start smoking weed. You know, hotbox that shit. Split boxing. Okay. Okay, let's explain the split box technique. If you split an opponent between two boxes, they are now stuck in two boxes instead of just one. What is that like for targeting reasons then? Lorraine is attacking downwards. The split box allows Lorraine to reach Tallulah earlier on the other end. Gravel could also attack Tallulah. Okay. Interesting. That's kind of cool, actually. When you think about it, it's quite obvious in a sense, but at the same time, it's like, it sounds obvious, but it's like, you know, obviously it all comes down to the mechanic of the game, because some games like that, the way they work, it would just, you wouldn't be able to do that. You get to a certain extent and you'd be either in one or the other, even though the character would show as being there in terms of the hitbox itself. Okay, I didn't know that. All right. Is that still a thing, or is that something that's been patched? I'm assuming it's going to be still a thing, right? Because it doesn't sound like, I guess it's something that's, I suppose, cheesable, but it's not like, you know, it sounds like a legit tactic to me. It's still a thing, yeah? It's a feature. Two reasons. Reason one is for stalling, since her physical damage can barely scratch Tallulah. Reason two will be seen later. Okay. Yeah. The number two and the fly. Yeah. Mechanics time over. Let's finish this with the range arts damage. Make sure that Myrtle and Ami are off a cooldown before you proceed. Okay, this is why we place down Gummy before Irene, since Flames never touch Gummy. She has 2 full heal charges left. Okay. Yeah, you know this sound. 2 healers, I might heal the wrong unit. We have a 3rd healer to mitigate that chance. Makes sense? Which one has increased heal speed with the Flames? Heal frequency is more important than a big heal numbers. I suppose, yeah. Actually. Okay, it's kind of similar to what I was doing, right? You know, I was doing a lot of this, like throwing down just basically fucking meat to just be burnt, to keep our defenders alive. Which is, you know, pretty logical thing to do anyway. Let's see if Arena we're done. When the flames reach halfway mark, quickly place down Myrtle, Meteor, and Amir in that order. Okay. This is essentially the default strategy for this. Okay, okay. This is a good debrief. Yeah, I like it. I like this. Again, because like obviously that other one is just way more impressive because it's just ridiculous. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like watching, you know, it's like watching Ronaldo play football. You're like in awe of it. You're like, well, I ain't obviously doing that, you know. But like this is more like watching like I don't know. It's still really good, right? But it's you know, it's like oh, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Again, like. You know, off the bat, there was like obviously different way of going about the stage than what I did. But I understand this. You know, it's not just like brains just exploding at the impressiveness of it. It's like okay, I can see what's going on here. You know, this is if I wasn't doing what I was doing and I was like, man, I need to find a clear for this stage so I can try and clear it. You know, as help before I cleared it. This would be something that's like. It'd be valuable because it's like, okay, I can do this rather than somebody coming along and just like, hey, watch out, I'll clear this with this quick swapping, bro. You know? Yeah, that's what I made the mistake of it at first when I first started to deal with this. Like when I first started to get to this point, you know, and we got in, I was like, I was worrying about trying to take them all out and spreading myself too thin and wasting too much DP, and it was a mess, right? You only need to deal with the ones that are going to cause you problems, don't you? You can beat Ronaldo in Arknights now in football mode. It's the only place I'm going to beat Ronaldo. I love Click. This is where I was stuck for a bit, Ronnie. You know, in chat when we were trying to figure things out. This is where like we were really getting an issue. It was like that second phase. It was like we've got to get Myrtle out because we've got to get her back in as quick as possible, and we've got to get her back in as quick as possible so we can get 2 units always down in front of her so she never gets the burn. Because if she ain't protected, then you're just fucked, right? Especially with the way I was playing it, when it literally meant pretty much retreating everybody and getting people in for the next phase. It was like she must be protected, yeah. She must be defended. Can't even get my words out. She protect. Gardamir looks kind of sick though. I don't think I've ever seen Gardamir actually. In gameplay. I don't think I've ever seen anybody using it, if I'm honest. Maybe some passing B-roll, maybe. Okay. A lot of moving components in this. I know that feeling. Did that plenty of times, bro. Tried to get a bait uni down, it was too slow. And she does have a lot of resistance, though, yeah. God damn, it was like 4 years ago, lots more powerful. Yeah, it makes sense. Just saying, I've just never seen it. I guess that's why, like, well, you know. I've seen plenty of B-roll with, like, old units that have kind of, like, I suppose been, I don't know if you want to use the term outclassed, but, like, I might have, but I just, yeah, I don't think I've, because obviously I haven't used her. She was like, this is the first time actually seeing her in action. And I just can't remember if I've seen her prior. I don't think I have. What's that? What did BVN say, Misty? Just casually spoiling the chapter. Oh, I ain't gonna ask what he said then. I almost did. I was like, what did he say? What did he say? But no, don't say it. That feels timing, man. Take a deep breath. Bro, that was literally me. That was literally me when we were playing. Like, as the two faces, it was like, pause, and I was just like, let me take a moment, man. I need to gather my thoughts here because this is getting too real right now. Bro took a big break, yeah. Bro was just pacing up and down his room right now, like, oh, fuck. But man, how long did he pause for, bro? Did bro just pause to fucking have a wank or something to let out some stress? Like, damn. This is where I made a real watch because we still had Amir in, right? And I was like, I'm going to play Amir. I think we can survive this without the drone, right? We did. Is that why you took those toilet breaks? Nice. I like it. Really waiting for him to be on the edge, right? Yeah, she can, can't she? I was surprised by that when I threw gravel down at myself a few times. I was like, saying that, like, gravel, like, when I threw down in front of enemies sometimes, like, damn, man, that gravel can take a hit, can't she? Yeah, it's pretty much easy going now, really, isn't he? Bro, you know this bit here? I got so shook when Tallulah popped back. I was like, are you kidding me? There's a third stage, third phase. I was having to ask you. I was like, is she really dead? I got PTSD, man. I almost panicked here. I'm not gonna lie. I did almost panic. I thought I'm getting overwhelmed. We kind of handled this actual part pretty well, to be fair. I thought it was going to be a right on the edge, but we dealt with it quite well. Hey, hiccups. It's like early on, the real problem, you know, what was coming from this stage when you first started, at least for me, was these spearmen, because of them like ignoring a unit unless they got 2 blocks, it really was putting a spanner in my works of like, damn, okay, shit. I really have to use defenders here when I don't really want to be using them, and getting them out to the point when I don't necessarily want them out just yet. You know, potentially reducing the amount of damage that I could put out because I'm having to have them there, just in case of those guys. They are like kind of a little spanner in the works, man. It was like a smart design choice to put them in, actually. I think it really does add to the difficulty of the stage. Or at least that's how I felt anyway. You know, without them, I'm not saying this would have been a cakewalk, but it really would have been able, you know, a much, I guess, simpler plan, if that's the right way to describe it. Barely made it. And GG's. Yeah, as I say, this was a good clear for a totally different reason to this one, right? This was just like I say, this is like watching Messi. This is like watching Ronaldo, right? You know, you look at that and you go, man, cool. Like, Messi could show me how to do these tricks. Ain't gonna mean I'm gonna be able to do it right. Where this is like one of those where if I was looking to be able to clear this stage, this would have been very, very helpful. Very helpful. Where this would not have been. It's like, okay, all right. And watch me be 6'5" tomorrow, bro. I'll be able to play in the NBA, you know? Yeah, man. Great clear. But this was just like actually so far from the things that I've watched, which of course is very small because of the way I'm playing the game at the minute and trying to avoid anything like that. And I'm not watching guides. I think this is the most impressive thing I've seen. Honestly, I think this is the most impressive thing I've seen. Like that, some of those R8 clears were really cool. There was like a lot of micromanagement going on and some real like timing stuff. This was impressive. This was like, I'd go as far to say incredible, actually, right? You know, this was actually insane. Giga Chad this was. This is a Giga Chad clear. Ridiculous. Both really cool, though. Wild. Welcome back, Mr. Comments. Check the most recent post in React Smash. Swirlta. They're very different. Okay, now that you beat Tallulah E1, how about going back to your first streams and seeing how far you've come? Because damn, I would like to do that, actually. Because I'm going to end up doing that when I'm doing like more viewpoints on the game. Because I'm going to have to go back just to refresh myself on certain things. Who's the tightest bramble of Arknights? I don't know, you know. I don't know. I need to see more players tightest bramble, you know. Was he from centre back for Sunderland? Yeah. Right? It was Sunderland, right? Okay. I love watching 1P relay killers. Yeah, that was insane. Would you say fantastic? I would. I think that's, yeah, fantastic. See, I community really know how to do the most insane clears in this game. Yeah, that was really cool word angle. That was. Warning, going back and watching your old clears is major emotional damage. Who's suggesting this channel? Pull him away now. We must not let him watch that video. Why? What's wrong with this channel? He's not pregnant but always delivers. I'm not going to be able to watch this video today though, guys. Do you know what? I'm not even going to be able to fucking finish chapter 8. I didn't expect to be yapping. Do you know what it was? It wasn't the reacts. I'd got time for the reacts. I spent like an hour at the start of the stream. We just talked, didn't we? We were literally just talking. Did he play for Newcastle as well, did he? Yeah, I don't know. Who would you think's who is the Titus Bramble of the Arknights community then, man? Stupidly high bias level. Yeah, bro, we was yapping hard. Like, we were literally just talking. We were just talking about nothing, really, weren't we? We were just waffling at the start of the stream. So yeah, that's kind of what's it? We can tomorrow though we could do that. We could do some pulls and then we could do that and then we can go into or we could just do some pulls and go into the co-op and then maybe finish off. I think we could do the co-op and that as well, right? We'll try and squeeze it in. Or we do co-op tomorrow and we wrap up chapter 8 Thursday. Either or. Baited us into a yap. I baited myself. Like I'm excited to finish off chapter 8. I'm like, I can't wait because like this whole thing, you know, with Gacha and everything. Like, I've really been enjoying it, man. So I want to finish it off. You know what I mean? But I don't want to rush through it, so I'm not going to do it now because I've got to go and get rolls into it. So I don't want to be spamming through the story. We've graduated from slop to yap. Congrats. Yapping's the hardest boss for progressing through Arknights. My vote goes to Vivar, but I'm still not convinced he wasn't throwing and being dumb on purpose for content. Yo, there was at the point through JT8-3 though where like I was throwing a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Dumb throws as well, where even as I was doing it, I was like, why did I do that? You know? It was almost like I knew I was about to do it and I still did it. You know when you're about to press a button again, you're waiting for something, you in your head you know you're going to press it early and you still press it early, you're like, fuck, why did I do that? That was kind of what I was doing in that stage. I knew I was just about to do something and then I did it and then I was like, why did I do that? And he's like, well, you knew you was going to do it, so why did you do it? Yeah, I was throwing hard. Yeah, I'm not saying since you can just look at his rating for Wish and Bro still didn't fix him. Okay. Classic Mersk. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to retreat her. Hey, it's there. It needs to be used, right? It needs to be used. It's not going to do me any good, but it feels like a waste not to click the button. I need to click the button. Yeah. I've done that plenty of times. The amount of times I've done that though, when Myrtle hasn't been in a safe position either, so it's literally just leaked somebody because I've hit the skill, even though I've got no more DP to get. Like, yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, I think we'll sit it there, chat, because it is our past 4. Apologies that we didn't get into the game. Honestly, I genuinely meant to get into the game, but you know. Green button must click right. Reldon, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, bit of a yap stream today. We've said though, we've been saying for ages we wanted it right. That means we can as I say, I'll probably discuss it in Discord as well. But I do want to finish chapter 8, so it's like, do we do some Icebreaker and chapter 8, or just deal with Icebreaker tomorrow, some pulls, and then do chapter 8 Thursday, or do we do pulls, finish chapter 8? Maybe do some other stuff and then do a stream of Icebreaker on Thursday. We'll sort it out anyway. But yeah. So you're going to demonize the entire channel? Are we talking about what's it here? Alright, anyway. Alright, guys. Appreciate ya. I will be back tomorrow now. There's no stream this evening because Rosie's got a gym class and I'm going to go to the gym as well with her. I'll just go do some cardio while she's doing her gym class. So, rename the stream the JT8-3 post-nut clarity hit me too hard, right? I'll be doing pulls tomorrow. I've got to go and get my missus from work. So yeah, I'll be doing them tomorrow. That's the plan anyway. All right, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. If I don't see you tomorrow, have an amazing Wednesday. And good luck on your pulls if you're pulling for Monster. If you're not, then yeah, good luck on your next pulls. But I'm planning to. We're gonna have to spend because I've got no pulls. Oh, hey, let's fund Enfield a little bit more, right? Why not? Appreciate it, Reldon. Shout out to everybody, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I'll catch you all later, guys.